Hello, everybody, and welcome to Swim or Seek 109, or as I like to call it since the trailer just dropped a couple days ago, the Season of Sizzle 109.
Yep. I honestly, yeah, I think that's gonna be the new abbreviation of SOS here. But yes, Shads and I, DRF, will be taking you all through the group stage here today for SOS number 109. And I'm so excited to be here once again. Been a while since I've done one of these SOSs. But first up, we are going to be having What's Name taking on Heaven's Reflection. A couple of familiar names around here.
Yeah, I recognize Froppy on Heaven's Reflection. Used to be on Twilight Anglers way back in the day. My age is showing because that was probably, 2-3 years ago? Mostly a Gal user, plays Blob. Don't know what he's been playing now. Ivy, I want to say, is Charger. Deceased, not 100% sure what they play, but I know that they've been on stream before.
So at least what I know of Deceased back in Splatoon 2 was a Nautilus one trick. I've not really gotten a chance to play with Deceased much in Splatoon 3, so I'm pretty sure that they still kind of utilize that Nautilus a fair bit, but, you know, we'll have to take a look and see once they get going here in just a moment as we look towards this first game of the evening. Rainmaker on Undertow Spillway, an absolute fan favorite map mode combination here.
Yeah, what a map. It's one of those ones where it's kind of like split 50-50 in the community. You either love it or you hate it. But if you're a spectator, you love it because one, you're not playing on it, and two, it's very entertaining to watch.
I mean, at the very least, yes, it is 100% very entertaining to watch this map mode. There's so many iconic moments that have already come out of this map mode, just from all sorts of tournaments and leagues. These always tend to produce some really great games, just because the knockout can be a little bit tricky. But even if a team does knock out, it normally comes in some sort of spectacular fashion, because that final goal requires just so much coordination to get to that it usually is the product of some well-timed specials and maybe a sneaky play or two if you can get behind enemy lines and surprise them with that KO.
Yeah, since it's Rainmaker, of course, there is the full path up to the goal from the right-hand side of the map, as well as the left-hand side. Very easy for somebody to come around on a flank, which, I mean, flank in Splatoon 3. League ass. Never heard of it. What's a flank route? I don't know any flank routes.
All you need is that one teammate in your call to be like, hey y'all, watch this. And next thing you know, the game can certainly be over. So Rainmaker Undertow just tends to be a lot of fun as a spectator. Again, like you said, I do think that there is some give and take in terms of how the players view it from, you know, the actual game perspective. But as a commentator, I always have a ton of fun with this one. So let's jump right on into it, as Heaven's Reflection is going to be taking on What's Name here in the first round of SOS 109.
So we do see right away that Deceased is on the Nautilus. Curiously, we do see that What's Name is also bringing out the Gold Arrow Spray. It has a very similar role to what the Bronze Arrow Spray would have had in S2. Ivy's going to be on the Splatter Shot, and then Raleigh, which must be the Raleigh from Crustacean Crusaders, on those Tetras. Gotta love those Tetras. I have nightmares about those Tetras.
Absolutely, Raleigh is just such a great Tetris player. So certainly going to be causing some chaos here, as we do see early on a bit of a skirmish in mid, but that's going to be 3 down on the side of What's Name. So Heaven's Reflection will be getting the free checkpoint as Raleigh trying to play from behind, going to get shut down there, and this is very quickly opening up in Heaven's Reflection's favor at the start of this game.
Yeah, but this is where it gets tricky on this map to get the knockout. Both the paths are going through some sort of crazy choke point. 2 down on the side of What's Name, both 3 down. They could push through here. That's going to be a very quick KO in the favor of Heaven's Reflection, which we didn't even get to talk about their comp, but they had a very solid comp for this map.
Oh, certainly. You know, I think with this seized on that Nautilus there, Nautilus does tend to do pretty decently here. And it's, you know, it just didn't quite pan out for What's Name there, but with Heaven's Reflection though, yeah, I definitely like the comp that they came out with, and wow, that was just so quick.
Fast.
So I mean, as soon as it started, it was over.
Yeah, but honestly, what's name comp? I don't think it would have. It's that bad if you really think about it. The Aerospray does paint well enough for the Tetras and the Nautilus to take advantage of it. The Booyah Bomb certainly does help them push in. Just it might not have been the right map for it because that map can be very wonky for both Tetras and for Nautilus, just because of all the differences in elevations. It's going to be interesting to see how those two weapons in particular are going to play on Scorch Gorge and later Hagglefish, because those are both much more open. There's not as many elevation changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that they're gonna need a little bit of change there in their composition, but it's a little bit hard when you know Deceased is attached to that Nautilus, Rally is attached to those Tetras. Is somebody gonna end up pivoting or not? Is it gonna be down to those other two players to make those changes? Especially
Rally can pivot.
Yeah.
Rally definitely can pivot. I've seen them play Dually Squelchers. I've seen them play Junior Machine before. So they can definitely play other stuff. I mean, Tetras are their babies. It's their favorite weapon, so we'll see what they do. But on the flip side, you also have to figure that Heaven's Reflection is thinking, okay, they got a quick knockout on Undertow, but Climb with Scorch Gorge is going to be a bit more drawn out. It's going to be a bit more prolonged. By necessity, you have to go over some sort of bridge that you can't swim across, which slows people down since really only heavy Splatlings run speed in this game. So are they going to keep their comp the same? The Crab definitely will be good here because, let's be real, Crab is good everywhere, even with all the nerfs. That'll be interesting. Will they toss in, for example, some Ink Strikes, which can be very good here? Will they maybe have a Wave Breaker for defense? We do see that Ivy has swapped over to the regular Wiper, and Silver is on the Forge now, so they have Hammer Booyah to push in. Meanwhile, on the side of Heaven's Reflection, Minty is going to stick on that Tri Nouveau, Ego is going to stick on the Crab Splash, but then we see Code is going to swap over to the 96 Gal with the Kraken. Interesting choice. Like we said, there are the bridges that you can't Kraken across because they're great. It's going to do a lot of damage in Spawn Bow. We see that one member down on the side of What's Name, make it at 2v2 on the field, actually. Deceased getting a nice double there, it looks like.
Yeah, and this is already a better start, even though they are going to get the quick score here for Heaven's Reflection. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of follow-up here. So just let them get the quick score, just try to hold your ground a little bit. But no, of course, as I say that, that's gonna be the wipeout. They needed to just hold on to that position they had for another few seconds, and I think they would have gotten away with just a one and done push. But now this has turned into an avalanche. That now Ego's perched right on that snipe with the Crab facing Spawn, and this one might just be over as quickly as the last game.
Yeah, I think you just commentator cursed it, because you can see the two members of Heaven's Reflection are being pushed way back. One of them goes down. Ego's going to try and make something happen on the right. Doesn't manage to pick up, it looks like two, maybe from a bomb off the splash wall. That is 3 down now on the side of What's Name. And Heaven's Reflection is going to push back in, but they have a hefty penalty. I mean, 46 points. It's one of the highest penalties you can get in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, with Clamblitz, it is a 50% penalty, so pretty much as close as you can get there. It is, quite the score to start with for the first minute and a half here. So now it's What's Name that's still looking to pick up the pieces, but at the very least, though, they did themselves a favor, managed to get themselves together to prevent the knockout, and now they're going to get a chance to actually be able to settle into this game, which is something that they have not had an opportunity to do so far this set. So let's see how this one kind of pans out for them, because now that they've found some positions here in mid, they're already starting to look a little bit better, a little bit more collected and coordinated.
Yeah, you see Raleigh there getting a double, make that a triple. Alex coming in very clutch there, because you can see on the map that the Kraken was moving in, and while you can't carry a ball to Kraken, you can certainly jump to it. So now they're going to get a chance to open up that basket, and their clams are going to come straight in. Ivy is going to yeet that hammer, doesn't manage to find anybody, but a teammate does manage to pick off the splash, so they're not going to have a Crab to push in for a while.
Yeah,
looks like Minty's going to come around to the flank. That's a good move. They got 3.
Yeah, and this push was a little bit more of a slow drip for What's Name, but it is a great push nonetheless. They got themselves down to 50 remaining and that tends to be a little bit more of an average push here on Scorched Gorge. So just, you can't be sweating it right now if you're what's name. Just get ready for a defensive effort here, because so far Heaven's Reflection has been so great in these aggressive pushes, and they're back on here as they get the first power clam in. The Crab has the second. They just finished it up, so they're going to try to make a move towards the basket, and that's a wipeout once again. But the basket closes up. That's enough time for what's name to get themselves back in here and try to push out the members of Heaven's Reflection before this basket comes back down, but it's not going to be in time as they're once again going to be working through this penalty, slowly chipping away. They need 5 clams in order to knock this one out, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and retreat for now. No, it's a jump in, and they're going to knock this one out as well.
Yeah, just if there was a bomb waiting for Ego on that jump, Ego would have been dead before they could throw that.
Oh, wow. What a push there by Heaven's Reflection, though. Just really kind of, honestly, they've been juking me this whole set so far. Every time I was making a call there, they were just like, nope, psych, it's the exact opposite play that we're making. So well done to Heaven's Reflection. 2 very dominant games here to open up this tournament for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably, I think one of the biggest issues that What's Name is struggling with is just paint output. When you have Tetras and Nautilus, you need a lot of paint to support them. You add in the Wiper, and well, Wiper and Tetra actually have really great synergy together. They need stuff to paint for it. So when you have 2 paint-hungry weapons, adding a 3rd paint-hungry weapon isn't necessarily going to make things better. Really, the win condition for What's Name was just to outkill them, so that way Heaven's Reflection couldn't get paint on the map.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you're exactly right on that statement there. It really felt like they never had anywhere to move. There was, even when they had control of mid, there was a good amount of that purple paint that was just all across the map, and they found an opportunity to break in and score. But even then, they just really could not hold those positions for too long, because all it took was for one person to kind of go down, and suddenly they've lost, you know, a good chunk of their killing power, and they couldn't hold those positions anymore. They just got completely outpainted, and a lot of times, you know, I mean, the way that those pushes really worked is that, you know, one person kind of just slipped past the what's name's line there, and they just ran away to the basket, and allowed them to kind of get some paint down, and suddenly they couldn't even retreat either. But with that said, let's see if they can end this set on a high note in game number 3 of quite a few adjustments here as we head into Splat Zones on Hagglefish.
So the first thing I'm going to say, because I'm a backline player and I have to say it, Code has an E-waiter, so I'm very happy about that. Tenacity has swapped over to the 52 gal, so that has the I want to call it Ray, but it's not Ray. It's the
killer whale.
That thing, yes, thank you. Alex staying on the Tetras, but we see that Deceased has swapped over to one of the Rapids. There's a ballpoint now in the hands of Silver and Machine in the last member of What's Name. So very, very different comp. Definitely a bit faster moving, though, and has the ability to support itself with paint a little bit better, which is nice. Other than that, the only other change I think I see is Heaven's Reflection has a regular try now. So that will have Mist and Inkjet.
Correct. And I do like that pivot. As a Tri-Slosher player myself, I would much rather have the Inkjet going into Hagglefish. You can get some great elevation here and be able to really just make some very, very aggressive plays with that Inkjet. So be sure to look out for that from the Tri-Slosher on Heaven's Reflection. But Tenacity going to make a nice play here. And this will be Heaven's Reflection getting the lead. All members from What's Name are backed up now, and they're just gonna have to find a way to get back in here. But if Heaven's Reflection has, you know, learned anything from this set, all they need to do is just continue to put out paint and maintain a little bit of control. Just don't go down, and you'll be in a great position here. But of course, I say that as they lose 3 of their own members, and that opens the door for What's Name to get back in and give themselves an opportunity.
Yeah, What's Name has an incredibly good comp for poking and displacing people. They have the ballpoint, they've got the rapid, they have the machine for getting over the ledges, they have the auto bomb from the Tetras. This is just a shark and weight player's nightmare. You can see that Ego is trying to make something happen with that crab, but having to shoot down that many torpedoes, not able to find anyone. We do see one member of What's Name does jump out, though, so an effective 3 down on the field for the time being, which will let Heaven's Reflection cap. Ego's going to rush the ballpoint, manages to get them. Not sure if they're going to go for another kill at the moment. Looks like they might try to go after Allie.
And they're going to try to use this inkjet here as a little bit of some aggression to break in, and it's successful. So Deceased doesn't get the pick, but it buys them an opportunity to just rush in and start painting that zone. Heaven's Reflection was forced to back up there. So now, again, What's Name relying on getting these picks here, but they need the numbers to pull it off. So they're gonna lose control of the zone most likely, as Heaven's Reflection just continues to have a much stronger paint output here. So now the question is going to be, can they just hold their ground in order to, you know, prevent this zone flip and to prevent losing the lead? So far, this zone has stayed neutral for quite some time, though. So they're doing a fantastic job of it. Both teams just trying to maintain their distance. And now this is What's Name's opportunity. They took advantage there of just a stalling Heaven's Reflection team and were able to finally find that first pick. Waited for them to make the mistake, and they broke through and are now running away with this game.
Yeah, you can see that Deceased is staying in the back. They do have that inkjet at the ready, so they'll probably save it for when either the Elite or the Crab comes out. You do see that the inkjet comes out on the other side of the field. That would be in the hands of Minty, it looks like. Yeah. And now just the members of Heaven's Reflection are just going to desperately try and paint that zone. They do sacrifice 2 members to take down 2 members of What's Name. But now it's 3 down on the side of What's Name, and Allie's the only one left. They're going to have to back up because they cannot outpaint 3 people, let alone outkill 3 people when they're coming straight at them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's just not going to be a fight worth taking. And Rally, once again, ends up kind of on the outskirts of the map here, not able to do much as their teammates go down. So with 25 points remaining, Heaven's Reflection is able to come back, close this gap, and are likely going to take the lead. Deceased with the inkjet to try to give their team one last opportunity. Silver trying to climb up onto this canopy, but can't do so. And with 2 down on either side, it will be Heaven's Reflection who is able to run away with this one, coming from behind this time, but still getting the job done.
Yeah, that Booyah had landed just even a second quicker. That zone would have been neutralized for sure, if not capped in favor of What's Name. So 3-0 sweep for Heaven's Reflection. Great start for the tournament to them. It could just be that What's Name needs a couple of games to work out some of the kinks with their comp, needs to get a little warmed up. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, certainly. Like, you know, and I haven't seen this group of players play a whole lot together, so it could just be, hey, we're trying to figure some stuff out right now. You know, get used to each other. Heaven's Reflection's been around for a little bit, so this one I think certainly just came down to, you know, who is kind of just a little bit more synergized at the moment, and that certainly was Heaven's Reflection. They did an excellent job from start to finish here of coordinating those pushes and just running away with game after game here. So excellent job to Heaven's Reflection in this first set. I do think that we will have to keep an eye out for What's Name, because these are some very, very talented players. Like, they are going to have, they're going to just need a little bit of time to figure it out, but I think by the end of this, they certainly can make some noise in whatever bracket they fall in.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we have our next game ready yet. Oh, it looks like we do. You can see that on the stream. It has changed to Orca Ballestra versus Legalized Nuclear Bomb. I don't know. Do squids have nuclear bombs? Do squids have nukes?
That is a great question. I mean, we have a Booyah bomb. I don't know about a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, that does not do nearly enough damage to be considered a nuclear bomb.
And then I guess we also have tri-strikes, but yeah, nowhere near. So when are we gonna get the nuclear bomb special?
It's like in the last Splatfest how we had hyper bombs, but instead it's a giant booyah. You toss it and it goes through the entire stage. Hashtag no hacks.
Oh man. Well, we will see if legalized nuclear bombs are successful in their campaign here today. I suppose if they win this tournament, then the that Inklings will have to consider legalizing nuclear bombs, I guess. So, but Orca Ballestra is gonna certainly try to put a stop to that one. This is certainly a name that has been around for a little bit as well, although not super familiar with these individuals, but I know that this team's made some noise.
So where do I start? My team fought this team in Ludi, and they kicked us out of the tournament. I'm just kidding. They did actually beat us in Ludi. No grudges, I swear. They were just a better team, but they're really solid, really good. They make a lot of noise in the low-level scene, definitely what you would consider to be on one of those teams that's on the cusp of getting into mid-level and just hasn't had that break yet.
Yeah, and especially the direction that kind of Lowing has, gone recently. There's just been so many teams that have just been on rise. I mean, Octopi just banned today as well. So this could be, Orca Ballestra's opportunity as well to just start rising up through those ranks. That's one less team that is that you have to worry about competing with now. And I know that they've had, a couple of decent runs recently. So, this is, I'm assuming this is probably practice for them to get ready for the big event this weekend.
Probably. That's what most low-level teams playing this are probably doing. I am curious, though. I wonder how exactly they finished last Lowing. This is where we like the fact that you have the ability to snoop on players on Battlefy. And we do have some time to kill because Orca Ballestra is actually in Game 3 of their set right now. Legalized Nuclear Bomb lost 3-0 in their set, so we'll see how it's going. It's currently 1-1. Not sure exactly what this final score is going to be for the Orca Ballestra one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is tied 1-1 right now, as you mentioned, so that will be, interesting to see what ultimately comes of that one. They're playing Blue Gem Karambit, which is the #1 seed, so they're tied 1-1 with them. So I don't know. I'm very curious about what is going on in that set, because that's a team with like Brad and Seth and what is even going on in that set?
That is an excellent question.
Like, yeah, if you're tied 1-1 with this against this team right now, there is something spicy going on in that set.
Something spicy could definitely be a Rainmaker tease, but the fact that the Game 3 is still going on at this point means that they're at least holding their own. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that pans out. It looks like Blue Gem Karambit just reported a victory, so 1-2 Blue Gem Karambit over Orca Ballestra, but still taking a game off of them, even if it is a Rainmaker cheese, and of course we have no way of knowing if that's the case, is very impressive. Also, according to official Lowing records, Orca Ballestra placed 7th in the last link. They were tied for 7th in the Alpha bracket, and that's out of 145 teams.
Oh man. All right, so they're really going for gold this weekend, and taking a game off of this Blue Gem Karambit team is certainly gonna boost your confidence, whether they were trolling or not. So I mean, I'm ready to see them get into this lobby and really put on a show for us, because I don't know, like, Blue Gem had to have been trolling, right? Like, there's no way that they just completely like threw that one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, all the credit to Orca Ballestra though. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see them. And also actually receiving word on production side here that Popgun has officially banned Orca today. So they were part of that wave of bans that included Octopi. So congrats to Orca Ballestra then, because yeah, they're not playing this weekend, but I mean, hey, that just means you're a well-growing team at this point. and you have the results to back it up. So maybe this 1-2 isn't as much of a fluke as it might look initially.
They grow up so fast, don't they?
From low week team to ban in the span of 5 minutes.
Yeah, no. But I mean, they've also got to figure that they probably wanted to prove something too, because he didn't get a chance to win. Well, I mean, I didn't say they didn't. It's not that they didn't get a chance. I mean, they certainly competed. It's just they didn't get that final victory before they get banned. And well, yeah, it's cool to get banned just because your results are so good. Something to be said about winning makes it so much better.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm really. I mean, I'm excited for this Orca Ballestra team. Like the sky's the limit for them now. Just because they have these results to back them up, and taking that game that they did just now, legalize nuclear bombs. I almost feel a little bit scared for them, because Orca Ballestra must really be riding a bit of a high at this point. Your low wing band took a game off of some very notable players here. So they're ready to jump into this one. Whenever they get into this lobby, first up we'll be seeing Sturgeon Shipyard Tower Control. And this is one of those that can really start to snowball if you can play your cards just right. And you bet that Orca Ballestra is going to come out swinging in that game.
Oh, yeah. Once you get past the second checkpoint into the third checkpoint, it is a complete snowball. Yeah, you have to work hard to get to that snowball. It's not like certain maps where you get past the first checkpoint, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Cough, cough, humpback, cough, cough. But you've got to get there first. But once you get there, it's almost impossible to stop the tower. It just goes so fast. I mean, if you've got people up in your face and you're stuck back in, even partially in spawn, forget it. You're not getting anywhere near that thing. Even a tri-strike wouldn't stop it.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Once you reach that last checkpoint, things just spiral out of control so quickly. You're really just tossing up a prayer at that point when you're trying to defend and stop the tower in its tracks. So, definitely don't. The goal is just don't even let it get to that point, basically. Because if you do, that's just spelling so much trouble. So you just need to be able to, especially anticipating a team like Orca that's going to be, really pushing the pace out of the gate. Legalize nuclear bombs just needs to really get into their positions, slow the game down from the start, and just play very patiently. Don't try to make some big play from the start. You don't need to. Just wait for Orca to just start to maybe even overplay a little bit. They might get a little bit antsy, like, hey, why aren't these guys coming to us? So just, hey, don't play too fast. Slow it down. Try to get those positions.
See, normally I would agree with that, but Voiden plays a mean carbon, and if you don't go to them, they will go to you. And it is scary.
Okay, that is a good piece of information to consider, because Voiden's going to be in here to start with the carbon, particularly a carbon deco, I would assume. That's going to be something that you certainly have to constantly be flicking that map on and off, just to keep an eye on any flanks. Just make sure that they don't get behind you, because if you get that carbon deco behind you, oh boy, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because, we don't really know anything about legalized nuclear bombs. I mean, I don't recognize any of the players on there. I think Cosmos seems kind of familiar, but there have been more than one Cosmos in the community. The one that I'm thinking of, I don't think has played since S2. Now, granted, it could be the same one out of retirement, but I have no idea. We know a bit about Orca Ballestra. We know that they're very good. So it's kind of hard for us to say, really, how balanced is this matchup going to be, because we know nothing about one team.
Yeah, I do recognize, Cosmos is familiar, Scythe is also familiar, but I am, their weapons and individual experiences are escaping me. So it is going to be a little bit of a learning opportunity for everybody to see exactly what they're going to be coming out with to start. And as we said, it is going to be that Tower Control Sturgeon Shipyard to kick things off. After that will be Rainmaker on Museum d'Alfonsino, followed by Clamblitz on Inkblot Art Academy. And Carbon Deco, if Voiden is present today, they will certainly have a bit of a field day with this map list here.
Yeah, but aside from that, any ledge camping weapon is going to have a good time here. You're going to see sloshers if people are trying to get back into the swing of things with blasters in preparation for the S-Blast 92 that comes out next month. Might see a blaster. Grab's always going to be good here, so splashes. But also, you're probably going to see a Tri-Strike because Tri-Strikes are very good on this map. For Rainmaker Museum in particular, double Wavebreaker by the first checkpoint can be absolutely nasty. You get it so that they're offset a little bit, so when you jump over one, you land on the other one. It is such a dirty thing to do, and it would be great to see somebody do it.
Oh man, yeah. I agree. That would certainly be a great combination for them to bring out, especially against players that are going to be playing a little bit more sharking type on Rainmaker Museum. If you could pop out that double Wavebreaker, that's going to be super, super effective. So perhaps perhaps that'll be the gameplay. I mean, like I said, game one I think is going to be a learning opportunity. So from there we'll start to see those adjustments, and I think you're already playing one step ahead, Shads, to exactly where this will start to go for the thinking of particularly legalized nuclear bombs.
Just knowing how aggressive Orca Ballestra normally plays, it's like you want to do whatever you can to slow them down. Maybe that means a lot of pain. Maybe that means you run double Wavebreaker, Torpedo, and Ink Mine, and you just make their lives absolutely miserable. Maybe it means you try to out-aggress them. It just depends on what people are most comfortable playing with.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I feel like that's a lot of key decisions there. It's just go with what you're comfortable with. You don't need to reinvent the entire team to go into just a couple of games. So, especially with Orca, I mean, they are on the role that they are now. So they don't need to go out there and make any sort of outlandish changes. Just continue to roll with what's been successful for your team and your brand so far. And I really anticipate to see exactly, the best of the best that Orca has to bring, especially now that SOS is probably going to be a very comfortable new home for them for frequent tournaments.
Yeah, so we're finally starting. We see Voiden in the lobby, so probably Charger. Well, probably a Carbon. Femi, I want to say...
No!
Is... We see a Squiffer mixed with a Heavy. I am... Part of me is inordinately pleased because I really like Squiffers, and part of me is just confused.
I am right there with you. I definitely am a little bit confused by this pick, as quickly they find themselves wiped there, a delayed wipe in fact. So now this is going to be legalized nuclear bombs that take the reins here, and they are going to quickly get through checkpoint 1 entirely uncontested. I mean, this crab is out, but the crab isn't even putting much paint down. Finally able to pick off the 3 players playing in front of the tower, and that's gonna be it for this push forward now, although they do trade a triple for a triple here. So this could be the opportunity for legalized nuclear bombs to start moving forward once more, picking up where they left off in this opening push, and this game is just a bloodbath at this point as both these teams are trading blow for blow, and nobody's really making a move on this objective at this time.
We see a little bit of Gal on Squiffer violence there. The RNG of the Gal allowing the Squiffer to stay alive long enough to get that shot off, so they trade instead of it just being a clean kill for the Gal. One down on each side of the field. You can see Jade rushing straight into Vid. Not sure that's a good idea with how little paint that they've got currently. 2 down on the side of Orca Ballestra. Another one goes down as well. Femi is all alone at the moment because of the delayed wipe. They're going to try and pick somebody off. Do manage to get the Splash, which is a very good pick. The Splash is their main weapon that they're going to use to push in. Be supplemented by the Killer Whale, be supplemented by the Inkjet and the Trizuka, but really that crab is going to help legalize nuclear bombs push into Orca Ballestra's spawn. But one down on the side of legalized nuclear bombs could be an opportunity for Orca Ballestra to get back in. 2 down now. Squid takes out 1 in trade. And now PETA is going to be on the tower and starts moving it forward. Femi's going to trade off with them in a moment. Smart idea. Always have the backline right at the tower if you can have it. And they're going to get through checkpoint 1 now pretty much uncontested, which honestly isn't too atypical on this map. It's not atypical for the first checkpoint to kind of be a sacrificial one. Like, you want to stop them there if you can, but it's okay if you don't. And now we see probably that's why they want to Squiffer the bubbler on the tower, preventing that crab from really doing any damage. And we are in snowball territory, 2 down on the side of legalized nuclear bombs. That's a knockout for Orca Ballestra.
That was one of the games of all time.
I'm confused about the Squiffer, but it works.
Yeah, it did work for them there. I mean, the game was just very interesting and kind of confusing at times. You know, Orca Ballestra just had a very not so great beginning there. You know, and really picked up the pieces to just ride that one out. You know, the objective wasn't even played for about 2 minutes there. So I'm honestly kind of left scratching my head a little bit. I mean, it works out for Orca Ballestra. You know, I think they just needed a little bit of time to get situated into that game. But you know, it was just kind of a frenzy free-for-all, you know, team deathmatch there for some time. I do think that the heavy splatling though was very key for them, as they were the most patient person on the field, just holding their position, able to pick off a couple of people from afar, and just giving their team an opportunity to sort of jump in there and just make sure that that tower was never pushed up again after that first push. So I do think that Orca Ballestra did play that very well, given that legalized nuclear bombs just kind of pulled away from the objective there and were focused a little more on, hey, we need to get a couple of these picks here to get this push going once again.
Yeah, they got very disjointed and started staggering, and that's one of the real killers of this game. You start staggering and it's really hard to stop.
Well, let's dive into game number 2 and see what sort of adjustments these teams are going to be making. Quite a few on both sides here, actually.
Yeah, so Jade has hopped out of the lobby in favor of Sushi, or is that Normal, I think? Yeah, Femi and Jade are both gone. Normal and Sushi have come in. They want a faster comp for Rainmaker. Makes sense. They're going for no backline. So they have the Stamper now and the Light Tetras. Meanwhile, Orca on Legalized Nuclear Bomb, it looks like they haven't changed anything. But 3 down on the side of Orca Ballestra. Pretty quick break of the first checkpoint. That crab is going to possibly cause some issues if the Inkjet manages to take it out. I have to wonder how much Object Shredder is being run on that. Hopefully a little bit, at least.
Wow,
but
and I mean,
Nuclear Bomb's not able to get it past that first checkpoint. 58's very beatable on this map.
It certainly is, but they got the quick start, which is exactly what you look for on this map mode. You just want to get through that first checkpoint as quickly as possible. Even if you don't push it right away, I think that's okay. Obviously, you know, you want to get at least a couple of points beyond that because it is pretty easily beatable. But having that first checkpoint cleared is going to do them wonders for the remaining 4 minutes now, as this Rainmaker's the last one standing, and Cosmos once again using that Trizuka to perfection, able to shut that one down, and now are going to find an opportunity to help their team start to move up here. Abstract with a pick on the Inkjet, and now they're going to pop this Rainmaker and see if they can add some more points on top of the first checkpoint, and they should be able to do so with this crab at the ready, and 2 down on the side of Orca.
Yeah, the Tetras are the last ones alive in mid. They're going to grab a Rainmaker to keep it there, though, and that's actually not a bad thing to do. The Tetras knows that they're going to die. They're probably running a bunch of quick respawns. Why not stall out the other team for a little bit? Prevent them from moving the Rainmaker up. Tetra's going to drop down into mid again. 2 down on the side of Nuclear Bombs versus 1 down on the side of Orca Ballestra. Cosmos is lurking around the exit, looking to see if they can find somebody. Rushing after the splash and managing to pick them off. They've got that Trizuka out again. They're doing great. And Cypher is going to keep on running the Rainmaker all the way down to 25.
Wow, what a play there by Scythe to be able to run away with that. I think that, you know, having Cosmos there to just sort of play almost a little bit of distraction and just kind of say, hey, we got to deal with this Trizuka. But no, the real threat is the Rainmaker that's running away now. So a great job there coordinating just to force Orca to split their priorities. And that paid dividends for them, as now Orca is struggling to get up this ramp here and clear that first checkpoint, but they do find 3 picks in their favor, make it a delayed wipe, and they've broken through the first checkpoint and now have an opportunity here to search for the lead.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna take the upper pass. Scythe is gonna try and pick them off. I get what they were going for, but that is such a hard place to put the Rainmaker here, because your teammates are gonna have such a hard time picking that up. They basically need a full wipe to get that Rainmaker. Meanwhile, all nuclear bombs has to do is touch it and drop it, and then all of a sudden it's in an excellent place for nuclear bombs to defend. That corner right there is such a great place to hold the Rainmaker and cheese it.
Yeah, but they're gonna go ahead and opt for the reset. I do admire what Orca was trying to do there. It was a very gutsy play that I think could have paid out, but I think that that's something they could have saved for a last-ditch effort if they needed it. But they're gonna go ahead and pick up this Rainmaker once again. Cosmos there to shut down the Zip Caster and gonna help their teammates find a couple more picks on top of it. So with 3 down on the side of Orca, this will be Legalize Nuclear Bomb's opportunity to hold on, wait a minute, and oh, they try to run away with it, but Scythe was the last person standing. I think if they had another person there with the Rainmaker though, they actually could have fought for the lead, and now they're gonna have the opportunity to do so with 3 people down on the side of Legalize Nuclear Bombs.
They gotta get that ballpoint down, though. Oh, it doesn't matter about it. Managed to sneak past. That ballpoint just did not manage to land enough of their shots. One of those times where weapon R&D just really makes you hate the weapon.
Certainly, as this push is really not over yet. Like, what? How is Sushi still alive? What footwork here to just keep themselves alive here and just be a constant nuisance to the members of Legalized Nuclear Bomb, as now they've wasted so much clock here. This Rainmaker's not even popped. Abstract's gonna have to pick this up from their goal and take this Rainmaker coast to coast if they want an opportunity to win this game.
It is not undoable. But with 2 members down, they got 3 members. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Orca did not want that going to overtime.
No, they did not. They were in a great position to do so. I mean, the Rainmaker they never popped it. And they're probably like, hey, when's this Rainmaker gonna reset? And it just never did. Because I think they were just so eager to be, start pushing forward. We even saw them on the winning push for Orca that a couple of the members were in front of the Rainmaker when they had a couple of people behind their front lines trying to pop this Rainmaker and keep it going. So I think that Legalized Nuclear Bombs just, were getting a little bit ahead of themselves, and Orca was like, hey, we're just gonna go ahead and just keep pushing down on the gas here. Eventually, we're gonna break through.
Ah yes, Rainmaker, the hold forward mode. We love it. Not so much anymore for hold forward, but still pretty hold forward. But now we move to Clan Blitz Inkbot Art Academy.
Oh man, this is... I've always, kind of had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this map mode. I do love how, close to mid the baskets are. It in theory should not be too difficult to get a push going, but sometimes we go 3 minutes without seeing a push on Clan Blitz Inkblot. It can be just so tricky, and you have to be pretty coordinated in order to get those pushes, sustainable pushes going, because you might even get a quick one and done, but sometimes you just have to kind of keep chipping away at the basket because it's so hard to establish your team on that plat for a prolonged period of time.
So what do you like to see here? You like to see tri-strikes, you like to see ledge camping weapons. We see the machine on both sides of the field, so that will definitely have a good time here. Jade is back with their Squiffer. As far as anchor position weapons go, for Clamblitz, having a fast anchor like a Squiffer can be very useful. At the same time, though, it can be a little bit difficult since it does not have a useful bomb. It's going to be a little bit harder to play defense with that than it would, say, a Firefin Splat Charger, which has the wall that you can use to block off the ramp. The ramp, of course, is a much needed addition instead of having the steps, which have goofed up more than their fair share of pushes here on stream. Really quickly, we see delayed 3 down on the side of Orca Ballestra. It's starting off very similar to other matches, where it was just kind of a slaughterhouse and Orca wasn't winning those initial fights.
Yeah, and you know, it seems like we're off to about the same start as we saw in game 1 and 2, exactly as Legalize Nuclear Bombs does hold a lot of this mid-map control, but this zip cast not really going to go anywhere at this point. This could be an opportunity for Legalize Bombs to get a free pick here, and yes, they will. So now they're going to maintain solid control here of mid. They do have a power clamp to their name now too, and they're going to try to force a push here. So yes, Scythe will get the first power clamp of the game, but there is very minimal follow-up here as Cosmos has a couple of clamps in their pocket, but they're not going to be able to get up that ramp. This will be a simple one and done push, and it seems like this will be one of those games where we are just going to be slowly chipping away at the basket on either side.
And honestly, one and done pushes you really don't want to see, especially on such a stally game map mode like Inkblot, where a winning push could be to 77 very realistically. You want to at least aim to get a power clamp and a big clamp. You do see that are 2 down on the side. Make that 3 down on the side of Legalize Nuclear Bombs. So this is going to be Orca Ballestra's real chance to get back into mid and put out the paint. They can do it. They've got the Splash, they've got the Squiffer, both of which are excellent painting weapons, despite Squiffer being a charger. 3 down on the side of Legalize Nuclear Bombs. So we have the power clam going in for Orca Ballestra. No little clams yet. They're going to focus on the murdering a little bit, which, I mean, when the enemy team is coming straight at you, probably not a bad idea.
And they have 11 clams. There we go. They were trying to form a power clam there. I was wondering what was taking so long to pile in that surplus of clams that they had. And now they're going to go ahead and just try to hold this basket open. They do lose 2 of their members, so it seems like Jade will just pile in the remaining clams here, and they will be satisfied with this push down to 27 remaining. A great push indeed. And they're going to just try to hold mid at this point, able to do so actually as they do get a couple of nice picks here. Scythe, though, ready to start pushing this as fast as possible. And now have kind of created a little bit of a separation in Orca Ballestra here, trying to play in the middle of their team. But no, it seems like they did end up ultimately paying a price there. So this will be Legalize Nuclear Bomb's opportunity to just try and hold mid. I think that's the key thing that they're going to need at this point. Just don't try to force anything, because you know Orca is just going to try to, up the aggression at the next opportunity they get. If they can just get one pick, and there it is on Scythe. If they can get Barbie dolls in, no, it's not going to be the case here, as Barbie will go ahead and build up a power clamp, able to pick off the Squiffer, or help their teammate pick off a Squiffer. And now with 3 down here, this will be their opportunity to for their power clamp, and yes, they will. The second power clamp going to be jumping in. Will they be able to get it in? Yes, they will. So they close the gap down to a 23-point game with about 1:10 left to play. So they're in a decent position now. At least they closed the gap, and now it's only going to take 2 power clams and a little bit of change to bring this one home.
Yeah, here's the slight problem though. They are 3 down right now. Make that a whiteout. Mid is very, very yellow. If they don't get the Squiffer and the Splash down, which they just did, they're going to have a hard time retaking mid. Boyden's going to jump in, not able to get a pick on anybody. It looks like the Stanford did. Boyden has to jump out, so that's an effective delayed wipe on the side of Orca. Well, but Orca has a special ready, and they're getting close to that crab. 62 is not far for a crab on a splash. They get the machine, that's a good pick. 3 down on the side. Make that a wipe out on Orca Ballestra, so this is Nuclear Bomb's big chance. Barbadolls is going to go back and grab that pity. Abstract is going to Booyah, see if they can find anyone. We got specials coming out. They get 1 power clam in. 2 down on the side. Orca Ballestra, that's a 3rd. Celstic's got to make something happen here because they are slowly trickling
Tina's going to come in as well. Manages to get one. Abstract coming in with 3. They gotta get that last member on Plateau, and they gotta get Barbie dolls as they're rushing in, because here it comes.
Wow! What a play there by Legalize Nuclear Bombs to come from behind in this one and steal game 3. I mean, there was just so much that was going into that push there. I was waiting, just holding my breath there, Shads, as they were starting to piece things together a little bit. You could slowly see this tsunami just building up, and they finally got there in overtime. And they had a fantastic push there. You know, we saw one of the members running back to get that power climb, especially as they were getting the wipeout. They were able to jump in there, get that power climb in, and just start, they coordinated themselves well. They got a couple of picks, they piled in the clams that they had, managed to keep it open, and eventually we just saw that last rush there at the end, slipping through to throw in the 2 little clams to win that game when everybody else was down.
3 little clams, actually, I think, because I think they needed. I think 2 would have gotten them down to 23, which would have tied it. So if that basket had closed, it would have bumped them up to 24. It can be hard sometimes with Clam Blitz, because the clams can still go in after you die because you throw them before you die. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the game, Barbie Dolls, I believe, was the one that threw the last couple clams in. Definitely was dead, but they had already thrown the clams by the time that they had gotten splatted. And once those clams are in the air, you can't stop them.
Yeah, it's so hard at sometimes to be able to stop those last second pushes, especially once you have the basket open and your team is staggered just enough. So I mean, kudos to Legalize Nuclear Bombs there. Did not win the war, but they did take a battle there. So that's going to be something for them to, hopefully build up some momentum going into this 3rd round. So I am looking forward to see if they can end off their group stage, in a good way. Because that overtime win like that can be very motivating, and suddenly your team is right back into it.
Oh yeah, the high you get from that's amazing. You've just got the adrenaline pumping and everybody's screaming in BC because you actually did it. But they do have a tough fight next game because they're fighting Brand & Co. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, we've got Squid Sushi and Jelly Squids.
Ah, yes. So Jelly Squids coming off of that silver bracket win in LTC this past weekend. So congratulations to them. They bested my team 3-1 in the first stage of that silver bracket. So hey, at least I could say that I lost to the eventual silver bracket winners.
Oh yeah, it's always good when the team that beats you, kicks you out of a tournament, is the one that actually wins, because then it doesn't feel as bad.
Exactly. But all the credit to Jelly Squids. They had the whole team there. And they made some great adjustments during that set and throughout the rest of that bracket too, to come out on top. And at least they walked home winning something to put on their resumes now. So they're ready to take that dub, bring it over to SOS, and make some noise here as they are getting geared up to play against Squid Sushi. Squid Sushi, not actually a team I'm super familiar with, but I'm really excited to get to know them. I love their logo, actually. That's super adorable. I love them for it.
It makes me feel bad for eating sushi. But it tastes so good, I have to eat it anyways.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? I don't really eat sushi, so I could say, wow, it is so adorable. And I don't feel bad because I don't eat it.
But you know what's good on sushi?
What?
Sea urchin roe. You know why? Because it's got a lot of umami. And guess where we're going first?
Umami Ruins.
Yep.
Oh, man. So, Splat Zone's Umami, definitely one of the maps in this game.
It's a map.
It is a map. It exists.
It has several unflattering comparisons on Twitter to Tetris blocks.
Oh, hey, I mean, I feel like that's just Splatoon 3 in general, but Umami is definitely one of the bigger offenders here. And with the new map as well coming into Sizzle season, Barnacle and Dime, we've already seen plenty of unflattering comparisons to Tetris.
We have Copium. Maybe someday there'll be a flank route.
One day. Which is why they
Eventually.
should bring back Triggerfish zones. No, I'm joking.
Hashtag bias.
Hey, you know I had to throw one of those in there.
Yeah, you absolutely did. But this is not Triggerfish zones. It's Umami zones. And what could be better on Umami zones than crab? Actually, just kidding. There are a lot of other good things aside
I was
from
gonna
crab.
say E-Leader's right up there with it. You know, it's got so much free range there to just pick off anybody that peeks out of any little barrier that might be put between them and the E-Leader. So definitely, if that's gonna come out on either team, this is the place to do it.
I mean, Firefin is definitely good hero as well, though.
True.
With the wall, you can block off a good chunk of one of the zones. It's cramped enough for the map that you can still hit most of the people. And Tri-Strike is Tri-Strike. Weave is going to come out with the ballpoint bow, and Mark is going to use the Hydra. So no sniper type chargers, only Splatlings. But we do see a Hydra finally, so Hydra represent. We have the classic double splash on the side of Sushi Squids, and then they've got a Junior to round things out. Meanwhile, on the side of Jelly Squids, which I think we might have to call them like Jelly and Sushi just so we don't get mixed up.
Yeah.
We have Ink Brush, which of course has the Zipcaster, or as a lot of people like to call it, the Spider-Man. And then they also have a Splash and a Junior. Bubble can be pretty good here. Covers a fair bit of the zone and can help pushing in. A 2 down on the side of Sushi really quickly. Weave tries to back up, uses the Inkjet to take this guy, see if he can get a pick off for anyone. Can't really get too close to that Ink Brush. He does try to pop his Spider-Man, but not able to find it. Mark doesn't find anybody with the Booyah, and they're the last ones alive and quickly get picked off the poke.
Wow. So Squid Sushi here going to be taking some control and now taking a very aggressive position here to try and lock out the Jelly Squids. But all it's going to take is a couple of picks and Jelly Squids will be right back in this one. They did find one, but the Crab is going to be able to get the trade here. So they will hold on to this position here, but slowly Jelly Squids are fighting their way back in. But no, that's 3 down. It's marked as the last one standing. They're going to be able to take this 1v1 here. Their teammate going to come in right in time to save them, but not for long as Weef holds this ballpoint here, trying to just lock out Jelly Squids for good. This Inkjet might just do it too, but the Zipcast are going to try to force this zone to be neutral, going to buy them just a little bit of time. But Squid Sushi, once again, back in control. Jelly Squids have found their opening though amidst the chaos and are forcing this neutral zone. But can they hold on to it? Mark's going to try to use this Booyah Bomb to give them an opportunity. No, they're going to actually use it a little more defensively there. I think if they went for that left zone, they could have actually tried to force the zone flip. But now they're fighting for their lives here in this game as this zone continues to hold its neutral state. And finally, the Jelly Squids find their answer after an insane struggle there.
Yeah, 69-point penalty for Sushi Squids, which is pretty hefty to overcome. They have to hold the zone for an entire minute. Then again, they didn't seem to have too many problems with that. 2 down on side of Jelly Squids as the members of Squid Sushi are going to push in. You can see that Weef lands from that ballpoint. K9 is going to come out and grab the follow up on that. Does a good job of getting the Hydra on the other team. You always want to see if you can get that anchor down. It's the slowest member of the team, and it's also going to be the least defended in terms of close range. You rush them and they're dead. Brush is going to try and make something happen. Can't take the 2v. He1 though goes down. Tora manages to not take out Poke. Very surprising there since Poke was already damaged, but just some of those shots missed. And now Weef is back in that power position in mid.
Yeah, and if they can just build up this Inkjet here, they're going to be able to help force this lockout once again as the Octobrush tries to be a little bit aggressive there. Not going to pay out for them. And this looks like it could be another possible lockout situation as the Jelly Squids are going to lose 2 members. Angelic is the last one standing in the bubble, somehow going to survive through all of that and back up just enough to help their team hold their position here and give them one last opportunity to force this zone to flip and keep this game alive. But with the wipeout, Squid Sushi will roll on and take game number 1.
Really, what I think Jelly Squids needed to do there was better combinations of their specials. You saw that the Octobrush oftentimes tried to make a move in on what's considered their zone, the one that the sign is hanging over, but they would do it before any of their other teammates had specials ready. And that led to the Octobrush getting ticked off, and then when the other teams tried to follow up with their specials, they didn't have that forward pressure or a pincer from the Octobrush to really sandwich and splat Squid Sushi.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You know, Jelly Squids, especially when they were just trying to break out of that lockout, something still didn't feel quite right. It was a lot of chaos. I mean, it was a glorious, beautiful chaos to commentate through. But I feel like that there was just, you know, something that still wasn't quite right in how they managed to break back in, and they just didn't get a firm control there. They got it down to about 62 remaining, but I think if they had, you know, played their cards just a little bit better, just, you know, went a little bit slower after, you know, getting those the zones to flip, I think that they could have seen a similar situation to what Squid Sushi had put them in. So, you know, Squid Sushi, as soon as they got the zone each time, they were very quick. Hey, everybody, get in lockout position, and they managed to ride that one right through within 2 very solid pushes.
Yeah, I mean, part of that definitely just comes down to how fast the comps are. Your comp is only as fast as the slowest member of your team. And while Hydra is very strong here on Umami, it's also very slow, even with a bunch of run speed stacked up onto it. Ballpoint, on the other hand, moves a lot faster, has close range capabilities that are better than that of the Hydra, and the Fizzy combos so well with the 2 burst bombs that the splashes have.
Yeah, you're certainly right with that, because I mean the Hydra can definitely be a little bit stronger. I think the Hydra did get a little bit more opportunity there, knowing that the ballpoint was on the other side rather than something like an E-leader. So I think if it was an E-leader, that would have been
sure.
That would have been way worse. So at least Mark was able to do a great job there of finding a couple of good spots to just, hey, I'm just going to continue to chip away at the zones, try to, you know, make it difficult. You know, as soon as you all get back in, you know, we're going to try to take this. But let's see what these teams end up doing here in game number 2. Power Control, Mako, Mart. And it seems like we've got just a couple adjustments this time.
Yeah, so we don't see any change on the Squid Sushi. Meanwhile, Diamond has swapped onto Googly Squelchers. And then we also see a Vanilla Roller as well. So they're keeping the Bubble, which, I mean, Bubble definitely has a nice niche on Power Control. It can be very great for getting through checkpoints, especially ones that go super close to the plat, like the one here on Mako. But you see very quickly that a member of each team is going down. Make that 2 members on the side of Squid Sushi. And a push only to 96. That is very easily beatable, to say the least. So don't take too much stock in that first push.
Oh man, and it's, you know, this is looking to be a similar start here for Jelly Squids. Just not able to win those early 1v1s. And now Squid Sushi is taking control here. First checkpoint going to be somewhat contested, but their teammates are there to help clean up the mess. Ballpoint doing a fantastic job. The Booyah Bomb from Mark going to come out and try to slow down this tower a little bit, but it's not for long, as this tower is already at checkpoint 2, and they have a 3-to-1 numbers advantage.
Yeah, Mark is positioning over on the left-hand side by that last checkpoint. They do have enough range to really reach the tower from there, and a triple from Jelly Squid will most likely stop this push. Definitely will stop the push now that they found the last member sniffing around. But 11 on Mako Mart is exceptionally good. Especially with this much time left. This is an easily defendable position for Squid Sushi.
Oh, I 100% agree. If they just continue to play the way that they have been, not try to make any unnecessarily big plays here, they should be able to ride this one out. Just continue to be patient. You know, continue to push the tower too. I mean, why not? You've been doing a great job on offense. See if you can ultimately knock this one out. So just keep this tower just in front of you, and you should be fine whether you knock this one out or just stall it out for the remaining 2.5 minutes.
We do see a lot of stagger bow on Squid Sushi now. 3 members going down. So they're going to respawn rather slowly. You can see that they're coming back one by one. And this gives Jelly Squid the time to paint the map blue, make it their color. Tora's going to set up on the right-hand stack, see if they can manage to get a couple picks with that crab. Might be a little bit early with that, though. They do...
Well, they are going to get all the way to this first checkpoint, slowly working through it, able to clear it now. And they do have a slight numbers advantage to work with as well. If they can just live through Weef's Inkjet here, and they do maintain this numbers advantage, this could be their opportunity now to really get this push going and close this gap significantly. As they lose 2 of their own, they do have that wave breaker on the tower, which will give them just a little bit of defense here to protect these 2 tower riders as Nato's gonna go down. Mark is just dancing on and off the tower. Tora gonna try to force this one through, but no, they're gonna fall 11 points shy of the lead here. So Squid Sushi back in the driver's seat, but it looks like Jelly Squids are going to continue to just try and play forward. They know that they can taste it right now. They are within reach of taking this game. They just need to continue to do what they've done in this last minute and a half, but not when we get the double like that. Jelly Squids are continuing to hold this tower, though. 1 minute to play. They do have the slight numbers advantage, but they lose 2 of their own. It's a 2v2 situation now. 18 to 11 remaining. They're slowly moving forward, and now this is going to be where this push or where this game is decided for Jelly Squids, I feel. Slowly letting this tower retreat, trying to get it into a better position to hop back on. And with Weef and Pokes both going down here, Jelly Squids just continuing to chip away, doing a fantastic job of holding this tower in an aggressive position. Tora able to find one. The splash is going to go down. So now it's Squid Sushi with only 1 crab to work with. But it's a crab nonetheless, and the second splash goes down. But Weef is going to come up big for Squid Sushi. And no, it's Nato that's on the tower. Nato's going to try to force this. It's a 1-point game. 5 seconds to go. The jumps are coming in. And get the lead. And the game. Jelly Squids come from behind. What a set there. Well, I mean, what a game. I mean, what a set, honestly, so far. Just a crazy, a crazy game. What an ending, though, for these 2 teams. Oh my goodness. Jelly Squids did ultimately are going to be coming out on top. Oh my goodness, Shads. I know we lost you there for a minute. I hope that you caught the end of that one.
Yeah, well, better my net poofing than the streamer's net poofing, am I right? But yeah, I mean, from what I saw, it's like I don't know what to say. I poofed right before the lead flipped, but man, that must be nerve-wracking for both teams. They have got to have post-game jitters.
Oh, they certainly do. I mean, if you're Jelly Squids, that was a 2-minute push there. They were just constantly just trying to push this tower, and it was just every time they hopped on the tower, they got just a little bit further, but then the tower came back, and then they hopped back on, got a couple more points down, and finally had that big breakthrough. It was just a crazy, all, you know, everybody for themselves type battle on that tower. I don't think anybody was, you know, spared there. Everyone went down at some point, whether just trying to throw their body at the tower to push it forward or throw their body at the tower to slow it down and force it to stop because you have both members of the team on the tower. And Jelly Squids, wow, I mean, that was crazy. I think that Nada was there, you know, to make a couple of the biggest picks of the game that really helped their team propel to the lead and the victory.
Oh, definitely the fact that Nato was a roller definitely helped them.
Yes.
There. They could just run around the tower. They didn't have to worry about necessarily aiming and hitting somebody. If it had been anybody else, it probably would have been 50-50, but the fact that Nato was on the tower last step probably pushed it closer to like a 60-40% chance of Nato staying alive and being the last one alive versus Nato dying and losing it all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that was, you know, the exact situation that they were hoping for when they brought out the roller to really, you know, that's why you bring out a roll on the tower control. You know, it's for moments like that they can just hold on to it, you know, with their lives. Man, but let's see what they ultimately bring out here. I don't think that roll is going to be sticking around as we look here into Rainmaker on Manta Maria. Yeah,
Nato's going to swap back over to the Octobrush to use game 1. Mark is going to drop the Hydra for the Vanilla Heavy, obviously probably hoping that the Heavy Deco actually gets a good kit this game, and then the other two weapons are going to be the same. Meanwhile, Squid Sushi gonna stick with the tried and true. It's been working pretty well for them. I mean, they lost that game by the skin of their teeth last time, but they were solidly in control for a while. It's no surprise that they would stick with that comp. It's working for them beautifully.
Yeah, and we're gonna see if how this works out for them. As is Mark flanking with the heavy?
This is one of those maps that you could actually do that on and somewhat get away with it. It's not one that I would recommend, but it can work every once in a while.
And it worked there for just a moment.
Yes, part of it's just the sheer absurdity of it. You don't expect the heavy to pop up behind you, and you're just like, what the heck do I do? Mark's still barely managing to stay alive, but gonna fall right there to a combination of chip damage from the crab and the bomb. One down on each side of the field. Both the anchors are gone. Cypher's gonna pick off Diamond, and now it looks like Tor's gonna almost fall to one member, Squid Sushi. Jelly Squidville going 3 down. Since Mark is still over there, they do have a jump point, but I really hope nobody is jumping there just because that would be such a dead jump to do.
And it doesn't look like it. So Jelly Squids are going to be satisfied with this push here at 17 remaining in the opening minute and a half. And Squid Sushi now going to pick up this Rainmaker, already progressing it past mid and trying to see if they can clear this first checkpoint, but no, Weef is going to be going down there. It's going to be Diamond with that clutch wave breaker there that I think helps take out 2, maybe even the third member as well. So this is a dead push for Squid Sushi. Jelly Squid's going to try to pick up where they had left off previously. And with Mark, I mean, Mark's just having themselves a game right now, you know, making some big plays so far, and this game's not even half over. So, I don't know if I've ever quite seen the front line heavy splatling like I've seen so far out of Mark, and I'm just thoroughly impressed and having a lot of fun watching this one.
Yeah, Heavy does have the capability of being just as aggressive as the ballpoint if you play it well, and Mark is certainly playing it very well right now. Weef is going to pick up the Rainmaker, 1 down on the side of Squid Sushi, so it looks like they'll probably try to delay a little bit, maybe get a couple of picks before they move in. 1 down on each side of the map, though. Given that the Octobrush fell at the same time, I'm guessing it was probably a trade between Weef and the Octobrush. Diamond popping out that Wavebreaker, going to stop anybody in mid from really sharking. They have to reveal those positions somehow. And then they're going to pop the Rainmaker.
They're going to go ahead and pick this up as well and start moving it forward. You know, there's certainly some more points on the board to be obtained here for the Jelly Squids, and they're doing a great job. I mean, Mark has just been fantastic navigating this Rainmaker in this game, and this will be a couple more points on the board, most likely, if they can just figure out how to get around this pole. And no, they were trying to play that one cautiously, but I think they might have almost been too cautious with it. They were certainly playing for the knockout there, but just maybe, you know, danced around the pole a little bit too long. Ultimately, only 1 point more is scored, but hey, that 1 point could be big in the grand scheme of things.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at last game.
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, if, you know, 1 point could have been the difference. So with Squid Sushi, though, having most of their specials online, didn't get used but punished on the recall, and now the remaining 2 members are forced back, trying to buy their teams a chance to, you know, jump in here with 1 minute to go and progress with this Rainmaker, finally clear that first checkpoint possibly too. You know, I think they really have to get that before they even reach overtime if they want to give themselves the proper opportunity to come from behind here, because Jelly Squids, I mean, so much momentum's behind them, especially after that clutch overtime win in the last game, and Squid Sushi just doesn't seem to have found a way to recover from that quite yet.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen a game of Rainmaker where a team has won when they went into overtime without having having a checkpoint cleared.
Yeah,
And
it's
13
very
seconds
rare
remaining.
far between.
Things are not looking that hot for Squid Sushi. Yes, they have everything up, but they used their crab and their inkjet. They have nothing to push in with. They just lost their last special, and that is going to be the Splash coming in with that perfect RNG and nailing the Rainmaker dead on.
Wow. I mean, what a set win for the Jelly Squids. Just continuing to, I mean, do what they do best. You know, they've been so good this week. I mean, from LTC now here into SOS, especially, you know, losing that first game in such dominant fashion too. I really wasn't sure if the Jelly Squids were gonna get their footing in this set, but hey, all it takes is just a little bit of a momentum shift in the second game, and suddenly you're riding smoothly in the second half of this set, and are able to come out on top in what is, I guess, technically a reverse sweep, even though it's only a best of 3, but, you know, a reverse sweep nonetheless.
Reverse sweep. Plus, I mean, they've got to be riding high. They had a fantastic week at LTC. They've got a really good showing so far in SOS, and presuming they aren't banned, they're actually scheduled to play Low Ink this weekend as well.
See, okay, that's gonna be pretty big for them.
From on high to tell us that they too have graduated.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Low Ink staff, you know, pulled an Oprah this after this weekend to hand out a few more bans.
You get a ban. You get a ban. Everybody gets a ban except for Preston, because he actually wants one.
Well, we will have to see, because I know the Jelly Squids certainly, you know, they've been chipping away at Low Ink, ready to hopefully have that breakthrough. And given the week that they've had so far, I do have high hopes for them going into this weekend.
But for now, Nessie's pools are done, so we're going to close the pool for a little bit, get it cleaned up, and give the wonderful TOs time to seed the brackets. We will be back shortly with the Great White brackets.
Oh man! All right, stick with us. We'll be right back for Great White.
Booyah back for our wonderful streamer Toshi, please.
Oh, are we good? Are we gonna do the shell out machine? Oh, are we taking bets?
Up. Everybody place your bets. What's Toshi gonna get from the shell out machine? Will it be the coveted gold banner? Will it be the slightly less coveted but still impressive silver season splash tag title? Will it be the best one of the bunch, the 10 ability chunks of every ability? Or will it be something that people probably won't care about, like stickers or decorations?
It's 1.5 times XP ticket. Instant classic right there. It's like I swear that's like a 60% chance of rolling that.
We've got Blue Tulip thinks it's 2 times money ticket. We got a 50% food ticket. Titles. Card pack. Hardback would be interesting. Personally, I personally am hoping for a drink ticket, so
I'm sticking with the 1.5 times XP.
well, Toshi is hoping for more cards, so we'll see what happens. Gambling on stream, people. Do not attempt this at home.
Okay, some decorations. All right.
And the grand winner is no one, because nobody guessed decorations. But he got a Squid plushie vote, so who's the real winner? I would take a Squid plushie.
Exactly. Too bad it's not IRL. So put it next to the Judd plushies we got. Well, but oh man. All right, thank you Toshi for that one. But with that said, we will go ahead and take a bit of a break here as we get ready for the Great White Bracket to close out SOS 109. So stick with us. You are not going to want to miss it. Welcome back, everybody, to SOS number 109. I am DRF, once again joined by Shads, and we have our great white bracket ready to roll here. Taking a bit of a look at the bracket, actually, there's been some pretty notable things that have come up. Most notably, what I am looking at, once we could get the official bracket on stream here, is Octopi has once again made a run and making noise in a tournament, securing Great White Bracket, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, Octopi is considered more of a mid-level team. Them getting up into Great White, which is traditionally where the high-level teams reside, is definitely pretty impressive. And I mean, considering that they were in low ink last month, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, last week they were a low-level team, and now they're a great white team. Like, what is going on? I mean, Octopi, have yourselves a week here. My goodness, like, kudos to them. There is, I don't know what they're doing over there at Octopi, but whatever it is, I mean, I think a lot of teams could be taking notes, because that is how you grow a team. Like that's it. You know, whatever Octopi is doing, you know, go talk to them, because they have some sort of secret formula that a lot of other teams have been trying to figure out for ages.
It's like you walk into a restaurant and you're like, waiter, I'll have what he's having.
Exactly.
That's what everybody in low level needs to do for Octopi. Walk in and be like, I'll take whatever training regimen they're doing. So it looks like we are going to start off with Silly Kitties versus Sanctuary. So we have Zangoose, Yorini, Woomy, Ali, Eider, Sauce, and Redcap versus Zashin, Joshi, Ricky, Divorce, Callie, and Ozuna.
Okay, so two name brand
I think
teams
Woomy
here.
is the only one I recognize. I think. I mean, I recognize Zashin as the name of a Pokemon, and I recognize Zangoose as the name of an almost Pokemon. And I recognize Eider as a type of duck, but couldn't tell you what they play, couldn't tell you what teams they're on, couldn't tell you their results.
Well, Silly Kitties, certainly one of those similarly growing up-and-coming teams. Obviously had a little bit more of a head start to compare to Octopi, but yeah, Silly Kitties kind of just got pieced together going into the last Ludi season and just ran the table in Div 4. Like, I think they had a couple of close calls, but for the most part, it seemed like a near guarantee that they were going to eventually be the champions there in that division. And since then, they've only looked up. I mean, especially adding Ali recently as well. Ali is a fantastic support player. So if Ali is available today, definitely be looking out for their play on usually juniors and C juniors, but Silly Kitties are just continuing to grow at a rapid pace, and I'm really excited to see them play out in this Great White against a team like Sanctuary as well, with Sanctuary having been around a little bit longer, having a few more results. So this is going to be a bit of an uphill battle on paper for Silly Kitties, but I think that they're up for the challenge. I mean, Woomy is a phenomenal player themselves. And they've definitely had a couple of good runs. I mean, they I believe we're at LTC and did very well there, making, I want to say, at least top 6 if I recall, but I will have to double check on that. So Silly Kitties, I'm looking forward to this one, because I think they have a good opportunity here to just get a good result.
Silly Kitties definitely do appear to be the fan favorite in the crowd. We see Redcap is also watching, so I'm assuming that they're probably not playing this first game since they're here in the Twitch stream. But Tower Control Inkling Carrot Academy. Seen this one before. Another snowbally map. It's very, very hard to stop the tower once it gets past that second checkpoint. It just goes up and up and up.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, with this one, you're gonna need players like Umi to really start to push those plats. Once you kind of get the tower moving a little bit, you just need 2 people start pushing forward. Get up onto plats, see if you can get to bats even, and just start to buy your tower rider some time just to, build up some special, get to that, break the first checkpoint, get to that second checkpoint. And then that could be a good time to start to switch off as well. Get a little bit of that passive special also, pop that, and, see how far you can really get going. So, I think Silicas, they do tend to play very fast, very aggressive. So this one could be in their favor if they can, keep that, at just the right pace. You don't want to overextend, but you do want to be very fast and aggressive out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, fast aggressive, that's the way that you want to play these 3 maps in the set. The other team is going to be moving just as fast as you are, if not faster. Especially at the higher levels of competitive play, it's a lot less common to see traditional anchor weapons. You can get away with them if you're very good at them. But typically speaking, you'll just see that a backline is dropped completely, and maybe a mid-range shooter will take on the position of anchor in their team comp. So you've got to figure Silly Kitties and Sanctuary are both going to be moving fast. We see that Sanctuary doesn't have a backline at all. Redcap is going to pull out the ballpoint, but it's one of the fastest, if not the fastest, anchor weapons in the game. So that's not going to slow them down too much. Wumi's going to be on Tetras. Miorini is going to be on Flash, Suletta on Machine. Meanwhile, on the side of Sanctuary, who are already 2 down, we see Ozuna on the Tri Nouveau getting a lot of speed with those quick respawns, quick jumps, and the Tactic Cooler. Double Splash, 1 Crab, 1 Tri-Strike. Tri-Strike very good on this map, and a Machine as well. 3 down on the side of Silly Kitties. A push only to 83. Wumi is going to go down as well, leaving the Kitties a little bit staggered. Meanwhile, the members of Sanctuary are going to push up onto that plat. They've got specials at the ready. They're going to launch at least 2 of them. Might be saving a 3rd chain. Yeah, here comes the Booyah Bomb for a little bit of cleanup action. Not able to find anyone, though, and the Inkjet is out now as well, which is going to put a lot of pressure on that tower. Manages to find 2 of them. Not able to get the 3rd. Does get the assist, though.
Well, that is going to be the end of this push, though. So at the very least, they break that first checkpoint. Almost reach the 2nd. Not too shabby for an opening push. About 1:15 into this one. But Silly Kitties are very quick here to start moving forward. IB Wumi, though, going to be caught out in mid, able to secure the trade, and that's a bit of a delayed wipe as Sanctuary now is going to start moving up. And if they can get into those bats, which they might just be able to do with this Ink Strike here, although only 2 of them are going to be very effective, they should be able to add some points to the board and start working on this 2nd checkpoint. IB Wumi a little bit far behind that tower. So luckily enough, it actually does pull away 1 member, and the other 2 are able to clean this one up. So they do save that 2nd checkpoint, which will do them wonders if they could just respond here and really just keep this game going.
Yeah, that honestly right there is one of the difficulties against playing a Tetra player, because you want to go and get them before they can splat your teammates, but at the same time, if you send 2 or 3 people out after them like Sanctuary did, you risk stalling the objective. And they really should have left at least another person by the tower to keep pushing it forward. 1 member down on the side of Sanctuary. Suletta is not able to find anybody with the Booyah Bomb. Wumi is going to lose against, I want to say it was one of the splashes. The other one manages to stall the tower out with those tri-strikes. Really, what Silly Kitties needs to do to get past that checkpoint is to make a push when that splash Neo does not have their tri-strikes. That's what's been stalling out their pushes just enough to stop them. But they did manage to break the 2nd checkpoint. The 1st checkpoint, sorry. So Letta's going to try and get a pick. Does manage to find 1. 3 down on the side of Sanctuaries. Silly Kitties is going.
They are. I mean, and this is going to be an easy lead for them. This has so far just been a slow and sturdy push. So they're going to be able to keep it going too. Redcap could be forced off the tower by this tri-strike. And this is one thing that Sanctuary's done well so far, is that they have paced out these tri-strikes well enough that it's like it stops the tower for a full-on, you know, at like 5 to 8 seconds. And it buys them just enough time to try to make a move. It seemed like it was not as successful there as they would have hoped, as they do let a few more points slip. But eventually it does get the job done. They are able to force this tower to work its way back towards mid, and now they give themselves an uphill battle, but hey, at least they're still in the battle.
Yeah, as long as there's still time on the clock and you're in control of the objective for overtime, there's a chance members of Sanctuary are going to grab that cooler to make sure that they can get quick respawns if they do manage to die. Norin is not able to find the pick on the souped up Splash, who manages to get a nice double on that Inkjet. And they do have their tri-strikes at the ready, so they're going to start stalling out the bat area. They're going to try and force people back. Not able to find anybody with the tri-strikes, but do manage to at least trade one member for the bucket. But now that's a 3 down on the side of Silly Kitties, and they are quickly looking like they're going to be in danger. Yeah, this is going to be a lead flip right here, and here comes the snowball. It is a straight shot, 2 down on the side of Silly Kitties. That's going to be the game.
Wow, what a response there by Sanctuary to bring this one home. They had an uphill battle, and you know, I was talking about in that previous push. It seemed like that the triple ink strikes that they were utilizing on the tower, they just paced them out. They said, hey, we're gonna throw one, let it strike. All right, throw the next one, let it strike, throw the last one, and it just managed to stall the tower for, you know, a good about 8 seconds. And I think that even though it ultimately led to Silly Kitties scoring a few extra points still, as their teammates were kind of staggered a little bit, it bought them the time to get themselves collected once again, and it prevented a knockout. And I mean, they won that game, I think, because of the way that they were able to play around that tower defensively, even if it cost them a few more points than they were initially hoping for.
Yeah, definitely, because that's definitely a dicey situation. I mean, when the tower gets down that far, you start to panic a little bit, and you start to think, gotta stop the tower, gotta stop the tower, gotta stop the tower, because you know that you're very, very close to losing. And really, I think one of the things that separates a good team from a great team is the ability to keep your cool in those situations. It's definitely what separates low level from mid level. Low level people tend to just throw themselves at the tower in a panic to stop it. Mid level people still do, not as much as low level people. High level players will often always regroup and try and get their specials.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and they did a great job of that there. To, you know, at the very least, your focus in that moment is, hey, stop the knockout at all costs. We'll figure it out when we can get this tower reset. And that's exactly what they did. You know, they were able to stop the tower, you know, slowly start working their way towards mid, you know, start getting some paint down. They built up those specials. We saw a fantastic, you know, double there as well on the side of Sanctuary to start to really open things up for this tower push, and they got through that second checkpoint, no problem. IB Woomy got stuck behind them, and they were able to just stagger the rest of the way there, taking the first game, and now hoping to take the second game and punch their ticket to round 2 here on Rainmaker's Scorch Gorge. And Shads, a couple of adjustments here. What are we noticing?
A lot of adjustments. So first of all, on the side of Silly Kitties, we see the Tetra Wiper combination, which has fantastic synergy. They are both really fast-moving weapons. They can clean up after each other really, really well. It's a fun comp to run. Combined with Soletta and Redcap on high painting weapons, definitely enough paint to support those 2 paint-hungry weapons. Meanwhile, Sanctuary, they've stuck with the machine. They've stuck with the Splash, but now they have an Ink Brush, which is fast-moving, very, very fast-moving. Great for flanks over the grates on this map, and then also an N-Zap, which is the one that's currently holding the Rainmaker. But Soletta's going to try and come around from behind. Doesn't manage to pick him up. Does force the Rainmaker into the Inkjet, which delays him, but 3 down on Silly Kitties for that is not the best thing. That is a super dead jump right there to Wiper. Not able to find anyone. It's a very risky jump if you're not a dually weapon.
Oh man, and this push is still going beyond the first checkpoint, all the way down to 34 remaining. and a 1v1 here that can really determine the course of this game. It's gonna come down to the Wiper, and the Wiper wins out, and Silly Kitties lives another day here. So they will get an opportunity to bring this one back into mid, but there's so much yellow paint that they need to quickly cover up here. And this Rainmaker just trying their best to, stay alive here. Finally gonna get the drop down as well. So gonna have to just play this one, slow and steady, not try to make any big sudden moves here. Just get as much of your paint back down on the ground as possible, and hopefully some doors open up, especially as you get 2 picks like that.
Yeah, one down on the side of Sanctuary. It is the splash that will take out their main aggression, but of course Azuna coming in with the end up, proving why some people are able to play it in a quasi-Slayer-esque manner. Jossie manages to get the pick on Woomy, and 3 down on the side of Silly Kitties means that Rainmaker will swap into the hands of Sanctuary once again, and they are going to run for it. But 34 is really good on this map, which we haven't really mentioned yet, because that's right before the last choke point, and it is exceptionally hard to get up that choke point if you have even one person alive on the other team. But they're going for it, they're making a run for it, and 2 shorts.
Wow, I mean, and they had a wide open path there. It seemed like that Silly Kitties got a little bit preoccupied, and just didn't realize it until it was too late. Luckily for them, though, the Rainmaker carrier just didn't paint the entire pedestal. So they were 2 points shy, and it bought them just enough time to quickly turn around and shut them down. But now you have an exceptional hill to climb here if you are the Silly Kitties, and it's no easy task in the slightest. This is one of the trickiest maps to come back from in this type of situation. Doable, yeah, but very tricky.
This is not Blackbelly Skate Park, where a lead of 99 points goes into a knockout quite frequently. This is a map that's really, really hard to get into even the 20-point position. 2 down on the side of Sanctuary, though, so might be able to at least get back into mid for Silly Kitties. But Norman, I don't think, realizes that one member of Sanctuary is to their right. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for them. It looks like they've rotated now, so they are aware of it. But with that Rainmaker pop going to Sanctuary, that is going to be a very, very yellow map. And 2 down on the side of Silly Kitties. Redcap is in a very dangerous predicament. They are forced to use that inkjet to try and stay alive. But that is not a great spot for them. They do manage to get to trade on the machine bow, which is not bad, all things considered, in the situation they were in. Woomy is in a sea of yellow, not what you want to see as a Tetris, and 2 members of Sanctuary are going to jump him. It looks like the brush is just barely going to get out of those tri-strikes. And with 40 seconds remaining, things are not looking that good for Silly Kitties.
No, they are not. Sanctuary is in a great spot here, and they just need to continue to find trades. Every trade at this point is in your favor, especially because Silly Kitties have such a long way to go with this Rainmaker. They need to get this first checkpoint soon, but no, with 3 people down, this game is starting to look like it is over, with a couple of desperate jumps coming in as well, and they're all gonna go down. This game is over. Sanctuary is going to win the set 2-0 and advance to round 2 of Great White Bracket.
Yeah, Silly Kitties fought hard, but Sanctuary was just a freight train. It's very hard to fight against the freight train. Surprisingly enough, but
it certainly is. And Sanctuary was just too strong here, particularly in game number 2. I mean, game number 1 though, Silly Kitties were right with them. Silly Kitties were the ones setting the pace, and Sanctuary just really figured it out there on the tail end of that game. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you're Silly Kitties and you're going up against such a formidable opponent like Sanctuary, you really have to take advantage of every opportunity you get. And game 1, I feel like they definitely need to win out there to give themselves an opportunity in this set. But hey, they hung in right there with them. I think that's still something that you could go back on. You could look at it and say, hey, here are the things that we did very well. Obviously, there's things we can improve upon. but a lot of respect towards Sanctuary. Such a great team.
Yeah, excellent set to close out the first round of Great White. And with that closing out, though, I think that, David, you and I have to go and let some other people talk.
Absolutely. I mean, Imad and Saf on deck for you all to finish out this tournament. So, Shads, let's close this one out here for you and I. Go ahead and plug yourself. Where can the people of our chat find you?
So you can find me at IV_Shads_ on Twitch. I theoretically stream, and what that means is I stream when I'm not in school, so pretty much never. You can also find me on Twitter at ShadowDragon42. DRF, where can the good people find you?
You can go ahead and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch, TritonDRF. But as always, you can more often find me over at the CCA, the Collegiate Cephalopod Association, doing all sorts of things for the college scene in Splatoon. But with that said, thank you all so much for joining us here. 2 more fantastic commentators will be running you through the rest of this bracket. You are not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Swimmer Sync Great White Bracket. Once again, it is I, Mad Gamer the Second. I am joined by the wonderful Saf. How are you doing tonight, Saf?
Oh my gosh, Maddie. I am doing so fantastic. I'm really glad to be here, back on Swim or Sink once again, especially coming off of a wonderful weekend at LTC in Austin, Texas. Really looking forward to what's going down in round 2, Great White Bracket.
Yes, we're in round 2. I believe it is Fortune versus Celestia. Got a nice lineup for us here. Now, I think it was pretty close in the last one versus... Celestia was going up against... I've already forgotten. I have to bring the bracket back up.
I have a little bit of information on here. Both teams coming into this second round really strong, I'm at. I mean, Fortune going 3-0 in their first 2 rounds of groups and then 2-1 in the last one. And Celestia actually having a clean sweep through their group stage, going 3-0 across the board. And looking in at their bracket as well at the very start of Great White, I mean, Celestia also once again had a really good game going, and now they're here up into round 2, just plugging away, making their way into the semifinals.
Absolutely. It's going to be a tough climb here. Like, a lot of good teams made into the top cut this time around. Is a lot of the usual faces that we've been seeing. But yes, Fortune versus Celestia. Now, I'm not familiar with like the weapon kits we've been seeing. I haven't seen them in today's stream yet. Can you tell us anything about them, Saf?
I'm not familiar with either team either, actually, unfortunately. But I mean, if I'm curious, I'm very curious about Celestia, because if you're gonna clean sweep through your group stage, I mean, obviously you're doing something right. Am I right? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
if you're gonna be putting in that kind of work, and especially on a tournament here like Swim or Sink, where getting into the top cut is a huge feat in itself. You got to be doing something right. So Celestia is definitely cooking here for us tonight.
Oh, for sure. Like, SOS brings a lot of heavy hitters. So, like, again, just going 3-0 in all your matches like that is certainly a feat. I am definitely excited to be seeing what they're going to be bringing to the table. Now, Fortune also went 2-0 against Octopi in their first of the Great White, so they're on a bit of a steamroll as well, or rather, they're chugging away at it, so they're off a nice high here as well.
Yeah, and also it seemed like DRF and Shads talked about it a little bit earlier, but Octopi breaking their way into Great White Bracket is immense for this team, Maddie. I mean, Octopi very recently, as of Low Tide City, got low ink banned. So having them with their low ink ban now under their belt and coming in strong back into this tournament scene, breaking into Great White Bracket is huge. Absolutely huge for them.
For sure. Yeah, there's got to be something to be said if you're low ink bans, and then we already seen they made the top cut, although it was unfortunate they had to go down to Fortune. But again, that just goes to show what is Fortune bringing to the table if they're able to beat Octopi.
Absolutely. And I want to maybe chat about this first map mode combo that we're going to see into this round 2. Splat Zones on Flounder Heights. Kind of a fun map mode combo. It's fun to see this one come out, especially on Swim or Sink, because it seems like Flounder Heights has been heavily replaced ever since Manta Maria came back into the forefront, into the map list of Splatoon 3. But Maddie, give me some insight here. What are you hoping to see from either team here, especially with a team that has been practically clean sweeping their way into round 2?
Well, this is one of the few maps that has like a lot of verticality, a lot of inkable surfaces and walls to go up, so I would not be surprised to see some buckets come into play. The machine has always been a strong pick, and so it would certainly shine here. There's some nice angles you can get that is kind of hard to contest, especially from the high ground. Now, for zones, I would not be surprised if we saw a backline, but I know the Ink Strike is also a pretty strong contender, so a lot of Neo Splashes and T-Tex coming into play.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there that the Tri-Strikes are always going to be a really useful pick. And, you know, honestly, I do also think, similarly to Manta Maria, I think missiles are also a good choice here. And because of the heavy flanking that you can have on this map, if you're able to land them on the walls, it can be super difficult to try to break your way back into the middle of the map, especially if you find yourself in a lockout situation.
That is true. That is true. And yeah, honestly, like especially the Flings of Roller, it's got some nice mines in addition to those missiles, and mines are fantastic for zones. But with just the amount of angles you can get at the zones, I think mines would also double as just like a nice deterrent. It helps you call out when someone's coming up behind. But speaking of rollers, actually, I've also seen quite a few carbon rollers used on this. Again, with just the amount of angles and flanks you can get, the burst bomb and just the quick kill time of the carbon roller can really get some nice picks.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And, you know, I'm curious too, if we do have a backline choice here, I'm wondering if maybe a jet will show its head into this map mode combo, but solely because using that Ink Storm, not only good for having it in the middle of the zone and getting a lot of tick damage, but also if you're able to kind of place it near the sides of the zone as well, because if it's raining and you're climbing up that wall, you're already halfway down. Your health is already down to 50% by the time you make it to the top to try to enter back into the fight. So definitely another good choice to be had here.
Absolutely. And again, I think the Toxic Mist would also deter a lot of those wall climbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially like trying to keep people away and out of the way of mid, and being sure that you can have like a good set of eyes to try to see and where the enemy is going to actually be entering in from. And I think that's what's so important too about playing as a backline on this map, is that you really need to know where the entry points are going to be from the opposing team, and you really need to keep your eyes out on the flanking that could be had here. I mean, it's so easy, I feel, to get knocked out and to just get deterred by one flank. One flank could really make or break the game.
Yeah, you really have to be on the swivel, keeping your eyes peeled and just being aware of your surroundings. As you said, just the flanks, they'll be coming. You know, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you just gotta be ready for them. And at the back line, they are going to be coming for you first. I feel like another good choice for a backline, which we will have to see as we get into this match, but Ballpoint's been on the rise lately, and with the Inkjet, you can really get in some good spots with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and right away, yeah, there is that flings up for Celestia, and a squeezer for Fortune. Fortune making their way into the Great White Bracket with a squeezer in their pocket by Michiru. Oh my goodness.
You know, we talked about the Carbon Roller earlier, also equipped with that Inkzuka, but instead the squeezer, just having that splash roll, is really going to be able to deter a lot of that choke point going through the mid on the Grays. You know, it doesn't really do well against the wall, but like, it's certainly got the range to put a lot of pressure on in a pseudo backline-ish manner.
Yeah, absolutely. And right out the gate here, we are in a neutral position. Celestia was able to cap both of those zones temporarily, but Fortune is already here to enter the fight and to make sure that that doesn't happen any further, and is going to make the zone flip. Now with Fortune taking the lead, you can see all members of Fortune are in this middle section right now. You have Michiru with the squeezer kind of holding down this middle section here, trying to go back and forth, maybe keeping an eye on the longer range. But Celestia is going to try to respond with some missiles coming out from the Flingza player. And also, something to note as well here, Imad, is that the Celestia also has a crab in their pocket, but Fortune has a crab as well. The double flash comp is being ran on both sides, with the only difference being the Flingza and the Squeezer.
That is very interesting. Yeah, they're opting for the different positions of that support backline, just to be able to put the pressure with the range. But we've seen the special getting launched here, and Fortune's not quite able to, or no, I'm sorry, Celestia not quite able to knock Fortune off their hold here, like especially just holding onto that bridge, making sure they're not climbing up the wall, and now the crab getting popped, their flank is going to be going down.
Yeah, and you can see Tart was trying to go through the trench area there, maybe trying to look for a flank on the members of Celestia. 2 members now going down with the response of 1 member on Fortune going down, but Fortune is not going to let that deter them. They're going to take this zone back into possession once again. Celestia trying to look for a pathway to see if they can enter back into this map, but I mean, oh my goodness, Fortune is just widespread on that top mid area. Tri-Strikes coming in with Booyah to respond as well, but Fortune is going to respond with Tri-Strikes of their own. Zones once again going back into a neutral position, but Celestia is having problems trying to cap that other zone.
We're seeing a lot of trash talk. We've seen the missiles get piled. Like, Celestia's just throwing in everything they have in them, but Fortune is not budging. Like, they are getting all the picks that they need to hold on to this. Like, they haven't been given any penalty points in a long while. Like, again, the missiles coming out, but they're still in control of the zone.
Yeah, Fortune has not allowed Celestia to give them any sort of penalty point, and now once again, Celestia having 2 members going down, 10 seconds left on this clock right here. Maddie, I mean, I think that Fortune has found themselves into a snowball, but as I say that, they lose control, but then they are able to take it back nice and quick with that tri-strike. Fortune, game 1.
Yeah, we saw the Squeezer getting taken down right at the end there. That rogue flank could have been the tie turner, but already the ink strikes have been thrown out, and they were able to catch the flank before they could do much damage. So Fortune being able to take that first one. I think like that was the biggest difference, having the Squeezer versus the Flings Roller. You know, the Flings Roller is excellent for defense or just getting that special up, but just overall killing power, the Squeezer had a better at that range. I think once they were able to set up there, just couldn't take them down.
I highly agree with you. I think really that matchup came down to range. The Squeezer had so much more firing power and range against Celestia in that moment. I mean, but Celestia with the missiles too, you could see that the members of Fortune at one point spread out completely on the top. There was 2 in one zone and 2 in the other, but then the missiles came out and kind of spread Celestia's ink color across both zones, putting it back in the neutral position. And I think if Celestia was able to find their footing and break back in, they probably could have added some penalty points for Fortune. But I mean, Fortune just had that on lock.
No, absolutely, just completely locked down. I think they were able to anticipate when those specials were coming out, and as you said, they spread out. Like, even if though the zone was displaced for just a bit, they didn't get any picks off of it and hardly painted at all. So like, they were able to capitalize it as much as they wanted to, and so that just left them at the mercy of the high ground of the range that Fortune had.
Absolutely. But looking on ahead, we're going into tower control on Mako Mart. And just knowing what we know already about these two teams, I highly anticipate both splashes coming back, especially because the Tri-Strike and the Crab, obviously, are really strong picks. For any map mode combo, I feel in this current meta right now, very strong picks to be had. Curious to see if the Squeezer will come back, if you can kind of get maybe some wall strats going, bouncing it off of different pieces of the environment here at Mako Mart, and maybe changing out that Flings up for something else, but I could also see missiles maybe returning.
I think it's certainly an option. A tower is a little bit more difficult to use the Flings on. I mean, missiles can certainly displace them for just a moment, but overall there's just a lot of terrain that get in the way. But it looks like we're going to be seeing a ballpoint coming out instead of the Flings Roller, while Fortune is going to be opting for the exact same comp.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Maddie. That's what I always say. If people keep running the same thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, Fortune's here in round 2 in gray-white brackets, so something is working for them, and it's working for them right here. But I think that they are going to find a bit of a challenge by Celestia with having that ballpoint splatling out. But I mean, Fortune's still going to forge on ahead, and especially with having 2 specials online, Tri-Strikes are going to come out and going up into that upper plat area, but you're going to see Taro pop that Inkjet right now and taking the high ground, trying to contest against this Crab tank right now, and they're successful at doing so. No trade really to be had, but 2 members of Fortune are now going to be going down, and that tower is going back to neutral.
I love the maneuvering of that Inkjet, like just dipping down just enough to get that cover while still shooting at the Crab. Like, it kept the Crab distracted, and we were able to survive throughout the duration while they destroyed it. Like, the first checkpoint was knocked out for sure, but honestly, that is not a whole lot of points on this map, and Celestia certainly has a shot at this.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we say that right now, Maddie, I mean, they're ticking away at this first checkpoint right now. They got 2 seconds left, and there we go. We're going to keep on moving, and the lead change is going to happen with the Crab being able to set up right here. looking at this elbow area and also looking at this breakfast area and maybe trying to get some space onto this right stack at the moment. One member right now, Fortune going down, but they do have a crab as well, with Tri-Strike coming out from the side of Celestia to maybe try to clear some space in that upper left area. But it seems now 2 members of Celestia are going down, so their push right there is going to stop at the 47.
That was a certainly nice opening right there with only still a lot of time left in this match, but, you know, Fortune going to be coming back here. And I did notice that Celestia opted for the double crab splash rather than having a Neo, so they're not going to be running any Tri-Strikes. The Booyah Bomb really the only thing that can just completely shut down a tower push right now. So if Fortune is able to keep the machine in check, they can certainly run away with that tower, but already Celestia's on the aggression. Like, even though they got 2 down, they're working their way back up. They're not stopping.
Yeah, I think it too, if they're able to maybe couple these crabs with this Inkjet as well, that could be a lot of trouble for Fortune. And it certainly looks like it right now as they make their way down to checkpoint 2. Tri-Strikes maybe being spaced out here to try to clear some space and to maybe stall Celestia from trying to take that tower. But once again, you have a crab take on the right stack, positioning upward, looking for some poking damage there, ticking away a little bit, taking out Bingo. 2 members down now on the side of Fortune, one of them being able to spawn in at this moment, but Booyah Bomb is going to come out and maybe provide some coverage in front of that 3rd checkpoint, and it is pop right away. We're down now, I think is that 7 points, Maddie? Down to 7 points here for Celestia to try to take that tower in, but now that push is going to be prevented, and Fortune is going to try to paint their way back in.
That is huge. Celestia was able to get the checkpoint. While it was unfortunate they couldn't knock it out just then, just Fortune had put so much pressure and special into that corner, just not letting it budge. So they're going to have another chance at getting this back, and we can see them already trying to push up, take some space back, and just trying to find an opening for their own push. Now, the one thing I would say with the Tri-Strikes over the crabs, like, Tri-Strikes are excellent for focusing the tower, but on Makamar, there's just a lot of wide space to use, so, like, it can certainly displace from a certain position, but not necessarily get the amount of picks that a crab can probably do a setup on stacks. But they're back on their checkpoint, just trying to get to that second one. But again, Celestia, the aggression is just keeping them from getting too far with it.
Oh man, that was a really nice pincer coming out from Taro and from one of the splashes kind of over in that corner by the melon area. I mean, absolutely, Celestia's aggression is pretty unrelenting here. Maybe they kind of saw what Fortune was cooking in that first game, and they were like, hey, you know what, maybe this is the change that we need to make, and they felt that the double crab was the option, and also maybe bringing out the ballpoint as well, giving them that extra range. They saw the squeezer and how the squeezer was maneuvering around on this map and said, hey, you know what, maybe this Inkjet ballpoint pick is going to be the one to kind of take us to our victory here. But Fortune now getting some more points on the board, taking it to the 66 mark. They busted through that first checkpoint, looking to see if they can get into this second checkpoint. But once again, Celestia is making it not a cakewalk for them, Maddie. Not a cakewalk by any means. I mean, this map is looking incredibly purple as Fortune is going to make their way to checkpoint 2.
Oh man, this is looking dangerous. Like that second checkpoint in overtime is just not a place you want to be, especially with that Booyah Bomb now online. All they got to do is pop it and touch that tower. And that's going to be 2 members down with just the squeezer remaining, and that's going to be a GG for Celestia.
Absolutely. You could see the Booyah Bomb going in and Taro just kind of waiting in behind that wall area with ballpoint to just jump back onto that tower and to take it out of possession. So 1-1 Celestia Fortune.
I think they definitely hit their stride with this map. I think, as I said before, Flounder is just one of the most unique maps in the game right now. Just a lot of vertical surfaces. And they just weren't quite able to get their comp to really vibe with it too well as Fortune had. But now, Celestia, I think bringing on the ballpoint and the double crab was something they were more comfortable with, and they were able to really make it shine. And so, yeah, they just weren't letting Fortune get anywhere near that last checkpoint.
Yeah, definitely. I really loved seeing the ballpoint Inkjet and the splashes work together. There was a couple of times there where Taro was up in the air in Inkjet, and then one of the splashes helped them pincer one of the members of Fortune into a corner. It happened a few times, but there was one that was on spec cam that we could see right in front of us, but there was a couple that happened at different points in the corners of the map. So I think that was definitely a key game changer for Celestia in that map. mode combo. But right now we're 1-1, Maddie, so it is anybody's set right now going into Rainmaker Manta Maria.
I have to say, we were talking about Manta being the replacement for Flounder, but I love Manta Maria, and even Rainmaker, one of my least favorite modes. I love playing on Manta Maria, and I am curious to see whether they decide to keep the ballpoint once again, because I think it works really well with this map, but not always with the mode Rainmaker. You know, we'll have to see what they're most comfortable with here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering too if maybe that double crab composition is still going to sit comfortably on Celestia as well. Manta Maria, though, it's kind of difficult for crab setup, in my opinion. I'm not sure what your kind of feelings are on that, but I feel, especially with such a fast-paced game like Rainmaker, it can be a really tough time to set yourself up properly for a crab.
No, I agree. I think specifically with Rainmaker and even Tower Control probably, because you have to move into that street area, it just crab doesn't have quite the space that I would have for, say, zones. So I would be curious to see if they keep the double crab, and it seems they are, while Fortune here going still unchanged in their comp.
Yeah, they're still holding on to those tri-strikes, and we are still going to see that squeezer from Michiru. I'm a really big fan of this, Maddie. I mean, it's not every day that you see a squeezer in high-level play these days.
Nah, it's been a gem amongst weapon picks today, but it is certainly a good to see it again. I've already seen the crab and the ink strings coming out, but the machine going to be the first casualty of the match, followed closely by the splash and another splash. It is just a bloodbath out here.
Yeah, those tri-strikes displacing the members of Celestia off of that mast was pretty major, I think, kind of leading them into a two-down situation. But right now, Bingo getting an excellent crab kill on behind in that street, taking Taro out in the process. Apple going to throw this Booyah Bomb to try to clear some space around this first checkpoint, but there is going to be another crab pop on the side of Celestia, pushing Tart backwards and also pushing them backwards once again with that Booyah Bomb, making sure that they can't really get out of that platform area. But it looks like we're going to opt for this right-hand checkpoint, looking to see if they can get in there, but the crab was there and waiting for them, taking them down right before checkpoint's broken.
That crab was there to physically stop them from getting into that pedestal. I was surprised they didn't get knocked off, but here we see Celestia retaking the mid control here with the ballpoint set up on the mast, the excellent positioning for it. And also the crab does a lot. The ink strike earlier on, just displacing the crab from mast, really sets them up nicely. But now we see a 3 down on Fortune with the bucket wreaking havoc around that pedestal. Looks like there's going to be a free checkpoint for Celestia.
Yeah, absolutely. That trade there, I think, was not what Fortune was looking for, not what Apple was looking for. I think they were hoping to maybe get that pick and move around the backside and see if they could get a flank in. But unfortunately, the pick is what happened. That is what Destiny said. So we have this checkpoint down here. Rainmaker is popped, but it looks like Fortune is actually going to opt for that to reset, which I think is a good idea, especially because a lot of Celestia is coming back in and taking back space in the mid area. Once again, though, you kind of have just a firefight going on in this middle section, Bingo looking to see if they can get some space on this bunker, but Taro is going to pop Inkjet and try to fly away. Booyah Bomb coming in, looking to see if they can clear a little bit more of that street area. Tri-Strike taking out Taro in a interesting fashion. It didn't look like on our screen that Tri-Strike was very close to them, but unfortunately it was. Tart now going down as well. 2 members of Fortune going down. We still have like 2.5 minutes left in this game, Maddie. I mean, I'm just waiting for someone to pick up at this point.
This is pretty evenly matched here. Just neither team is really letting up. Like, we've seen 1 or 2 picks go out, but not enough to really get a push going, because with the Rainmaker carry, you really got to be able to protect them to be able to get any points. But now that's going to be a delayed 3 down, and possibly, yeah, this is the beginning of another push for Celestia.
Yeah, that tri-strike kill from across the map by Michiru was pretty good. I mean, they couldn't even see where the member of Celestia was that they took down, and they took him down it just flawlessly. Now getting Celestia to the 24 mark at this moment, but they only have 2 members up right now. So once again, Fortune is going to pop that Rainmaker and go ahead and let it reset. You can see Apple there holding on to a Booyah Bomb, throwing it in front of the bunker area of Celestia, kind of preventing them from wanting to push forward. But once again, you have Taro taking the high ground, kind of looking around on this left side flank, seeing if anybody's going to try to come around and get a flank in, and it looks like Fortune is having trouble trying to get any sort of flanks in right now, Maddie. I mean, they're trying, they're looking for it, but Celestia just kind of knows what's going on, and it's one of those things, once again, where that call-out could be happening live by Taro.
Absolutely. We see the nice pick with the Inkjet there, trying to find another, but not quite able to get it. I think with that Inkjet, that's going to clear out the mid. Fortune having to back up here in the last minute or so. You know, we saw the strikes coming out and the other specials just funneling Celestia into their street, but now they're able to break out and they are well in control of mid once again.
Yeah, and they are just kind of unrelenting in this firefight right now. Once again, Fortune able to pop a crab. You see Bingo kind of rolling around up on the mast area there. The Booyah Bomb not taking them out, putting on damage for sure, but not quite taking them out. Fortune is going to try to pick up the Rainmaker once again. They're looking to see if they can push this right side right now with only one member down. Both crabs, though, online for Celestia right now. One of them coming out, but there's 3 members of Fortune going down. Tart, unfortunately, not taking the time to push forward. The 2 crabs kind of looking to pincer them in onto this platform area. All the jumps coming in for the side of Fortune, but it's just not quite enough. Celestia is going to be moving on.
Pinchered indeed. The double crab going to snap up that Rainmaker and just GG's for the Celestia, the 2-1. Coming out on top of Fortune, the Rainmaker, the hopping backwards, just trying to get away with let the team respawn, but just wasn't quite enough. So yeah, Celestial will be winning this set and moving on to the next one.
I really feel for Tart at this moment right now, Maddie. I mean, you could tell they were really looking to try to make that jump and to pop that checkpoint, but even if they did take the checkpoint at that moment, it was right in front of 2 members of Celestia, one of them being a crab tank. So the hesitation was definitely there, and I feel in my rampant Rainmaker self, I just want to push forward and get as many points as possible, but when the timing comes down to overtime like that, I mean, it's difficult to try to make that decision in the moment.
No, absolutely. And I think it really came down to the last, or those first 2 picks of that push. You know, if those members of Fortune had been able to win their 1v1s that they are going in, they might have been able to turn that around, but just half their team getting wiped out, there's nothing the Rainmaker could do but back up. But to lose 3 of their members, it was a really tough situation for them to be in.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, once again, Celestia just coming out with this aggression. I mean, just on their way, like, to victory. They got such a solid lead right in the beginning as well. I mean, taking it down to the 24 mark. At that point, they really just had to wait for the members of Fortune to come to them to try to make any headway. So, I mean, at that point, Celestia kind of had it in the bag. They just had to wait for Fortune to come to them, and they were not letting Fortune take any of their space.
There was really nowhere else for Fortune to go except straight to Celestia, and that just played right into their hands. Or their claws in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing too, I have to note, sometimes with special building, it can be really difficult to try to, like, stagger your specials, and I feel Celestia did such an excellent job of staggering their crab tanks. It almost felt like there was always a crab tank on the map at some point. Only a few seconds would go by where there wasn't one present.
I have to agree with you there.
Yeah, and I think that's just such a strong quality and a strong feat to have as a team, that it can make it this high, can make it into Great White Bracket, and to really come out swinging against higher level teams, just knowing your special build and really knowing the weapon that you're using.
Nah, absolutely. It's the difference between running a sprint or running a marathon. I think Celestia is going to be able to keep running this marathon all the way to the finish.
It certainly looks that way, and just looking at the bracket right now, Celestia is going to be moving on, going against 2 on Crack. They're on Crack, Maddie. They're going against on Crack, who has also had quite a run here in SOS 109. And also on the other side of the bracket, you can see 1-2 Buckle My Shoe making their way into the semifinal rounds. And I think 2 against 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. You have Decay going against them too. So, I mean, interesting matches on both sides of the bracket here.
This is a absolute stacked semifinals right here. You know, like, I don't really know much about On Cracker, just what we know from Celestia's in this last match, but Decay and 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, both returnees for SOS. 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, the last week's champion. The fact that they're back in the semifinals, they're counting for a second victory here, I think.
Yeah, and I believe Decay is also a repeat offender of Swimmer Sync as well. So also them making it into the semifinals, I mean, that's a big feat in itself too. And if they're able to make it onto the final round, that has got to feel good.
Absolutely. It's a shame that they have to face off so early on, but we'll be able to see whether Celestia or On Crack will be the one to meet them up in the finals. I love the fact that On Crack is here and doing so well.
Yeah. On Crack? Is that like how you read it? It's just like when I read Silly Kitties. I don't say Silly Kitties, I say Silly Kitties! It's those exclamation points for me, Maddie. You really gotta say it with emphasis.
Nah, for sure. It's part of the name. It's as much part of the name as the actual name.
Silly Kitties!
Silly
Gotta love
Kitties!
And oh, look at that. We're going to go to the other side of the bracket. 1-2 Buckle My Shoe and Decay. Really looking forward to this one here, Maddie. I mean, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe last week had an incredible run coming into SOS 108. And I remember their backline, actually, their Aristote, their backline. Wow. They are an excellent, excellent backline player. I mean, they are very, very confident in knowing when to take fights. They're very good at retreating when they need to. And they have such great support coming out onto the battlefield with them. So I'm curious to see how Decay is going to handle that.
Well, I know Decay has their own backline in their pocket as well, and I think an E-leader main. So we'll have to see if they're in today's lineup and whether they'll be facing off against 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. So it'll be very interesting to see, but Clampus and Scorch, oof. You know, a great E-leader map, but the mode, not so much.
Yeah, definitely a tough one for the mode on this one. It's very easy to bottleneck. Well, you have to bottleneck most of the time back into the basket area unless you're successful with a flank, which in some cases is unsuccessful if you have a very, very watchful eye of a backline player, which I gotta say, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe definitely has that going for them going in here. But it looks like actually Aristote is not going to be playing here with us this week. But I do remember Nutmuncher pulling out that splash, and I do remember them also having that stamper in their pocket as well. But you can see that Decay has Johan coming out with the C-Jet.
Nah, CJ, I think that's an excellent pick. I think you could attest to this. Just the amount of mobility, paint, and just overall oppression that the CJ can have on a clambless mode. Just, oh, so good.
Oh, absolutely.
Junkie the Brush trying to get a flank in, but just shut down almost immediately. That would have been a heck of an opening.
Yeah, and right here you can see 1-2 Buckle My Shoe is already strong in the mid section right now, getting grab tank popped there. Chris trying to contest it kind of in that left side, but finding themselves in a 2 versus 1 situation and unfortunately going down. C-Jet though has that rain online, maybe waiting for a push or waiting to do something else, and wow! We went to that Zipcaster at the right time. They kind of just no-clipped through the map there, getting an excellent pick kind of behind a wall, maybe a fall damage pick of some kind. 2 members of Decay right now going down. That bubble is going to be popped, and Storm making her way into the basket, but unfortunately missing that power clam right now, and that clam I think is going to go offline in a couple of seconds there. You can see one member of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe trying to kind of hide in the corner, wait for some clams to get thrown at them, but Decay, wow, that basket area turned purple really quick.
You know, it's one thing to miss the basket, but to miss it in such a manner like that, you know, that's just so discouraging because you can't get to it. But they're going to be coming back. They weren't satisfied with that last push. They got a nice 3 down on Decay there, and they're already pushing back in. All they need are the clams to back it up.
Yeah, and you can see Stan is already zip casting around in that spawn area right now, maybe looking for a pick, maybe trying to be a distraction. Either way, both are completely acceptable. Once again, Power Clam is online for Buckle My Shoe at this moment. Nutmuncher pulling out that Crab Tank too, trying to clear some space, trying to maybe force the members of Decay backwards a little bit, but the Tri-Strike and the Rain is going to actually come out here, clearing this basket area. I mean, Storm and Nutmuncher ran backwards away from there, but once again, as soon as it's over, they're going to push back forward with that Crab Tank. Nutmuncher pushing forward, breaking that basket open, but no clams to follow up, unfortunately.
I feel like that's kind of what you come to expect from clams on Scorch. You know, you got the power clam in, but it's so difficult to be able to make a continuous push, just how open this map is and how much it really bottlenecks to that choke point. But this is going to give Decay a nice opportunity to make a comeback here, and they're getting a lot of map control. They're just doing a really good job of just pushing forward, but that is going to be one of their members, their Splash, getting taken down. So although they do have the power, whoa, here comes the flank from behind. They were not expecting that.
No, they were not, Maddie. They did not. No, the flank was there and ready to go, and then the Splash was able to jump in and throw that power clam in, but unfortunately, I think it is going to be a solo pop once again. Decay also not having any clams to follow up that jump, but I think Buckle My Shoe is now pretty wary of their flanking, and they're going to be keeping a good eye out. Wow! Logan with the double Trizooka pick on that map. That was just an unfortunate place and time for 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. The lead change now happening here, getting another power clam in, but you can see all 4 members of Decay really trying to circle back and get back into this bottleneck area with the Ink Storm coming out to try to follow up, but just unfortunately, the aggression from 1-2 Buckle My Shoe is just not letting them have it.
Yeah, they weren't quite able to get any more clams in, but the Rain was able to take down a member of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. That's going to just slow them down just a bit, but that is going to be a lot of map control in 1-2 Buckle My Shoe's favor, and with the crab coming out and a nice 3 down, this could be a potential opening for a push, as they do have a power clam and several clams in possession.
And once again, you can see Logan taking out that Trizooka, preventing the Stamper from going forward, helping out with the assist there, and then maybe taking one more member out. I mean, right away, there were a 3-down situation, and then Decay just flipped it. Logan almost helped to single-handedly flip that 3-down situation. Now 2 members of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe going down, and it looks like Decay looking for clam economy here, trying to build that back up. Only 6 in their pockets at the moment, but 1-2 Buckle My Shoe is still going to be pretty aggressive coming back out into this map area right now. The Tri-Strike's coming out from Decay, looking to see if maybe we can clear a little bit of that front basket area, try to sneak our way into that bottleneck, but once again, with that Crab Tank coming out there, I mean, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe is making it real difficult for them.
Trying to make their way in right now. 1-2 Buckle My Shoe doesn't really have enough clams for that power clam, but they do have that pity clam in the back pocket. 2 members down on both sides. A lot of yellow on the map, and oh no, the roller has something going, but gets taken down. Just Decay is locking down their choke point right now. Just the last member of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe remaining, and they are not going to let them get anywhere near that basket.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like they kind of had to zip caster to get their way out of there before getting taken down, but were still taken down, unfortunately, before their teammates could respond. Decay coming out on top in this first game.
You know, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, they had a really solid opening, but I think just the opening flank from that brush, like, just immediately grabbed the power clam and just went for it. I think that set the tone for the rest of the match. Just unsettled 1-2 Buckle My Shoe just a little bit to keep them on edge, and they without that backline, they weren't prepared for the second one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Maddie? I want to talk about Logan real quick. I mean, that Inkzuka, wow. They were just there. They were there at the right place, right time, and especially for that double, I don't think 1-2 Buckle My Shoe had any idea that was a possibility of something that could happen, and Logan was able to take them out. And then not only that, but in a 3-down scenario, taking out that Trizooka, getting 1 pick, assisting with another, they were able to give Decay enough time to respawn back into the map and to prevent what could have been a snowbally push from happening. I mean, that was Logan's game from my perspective.
No, absolutely. Like, there was several times when 1-2 Pokemon Shoot was in a prime position to get those clams flowing, but it just Logan and the Decay just had the right specials at the right time to shut that down and just keep them from really getting any momentum going.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's not all though. We still are in this set and we are looking in to game number 2, Splat Zone's Umami Ruins. Another double zone map, another new map coming in from Splatoon 3. Curious to see what's going to happen here. I mean, I definitely think Stan holding onto that Stamper Splatana Wiper is going to be a good choice. There's a lot of different walls and things and verticality to be attached to try to fly around onto the map. And Logan, Dryzuka pick again? Is that what's going to happen? I guess we'll find out.
I'm curious to see. They are going to be sticking with the vanilla Splat Roller, and in fact, they're bringing a 52 on top of that. Opting out for the Ink Strike, the Neo Splash, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, we're taking out the Neo Splash. We are going to be seeing Nutmuncher holding on to that Crab Splash, and Chris is actually also going to have a Crab Splash in their pocket with the brush, too. But yeah, looks like Logan is actually going to switch it out and have the Tri-Strike. I mean, honestly, a better choice for zones, definitely. Can agree there. I mean, as we can see, Decay is already going to open us up in this game by taking the zone first. And now, once again, C-Jet having that rain online for when they need it, and they're going to go ahead and pop it right away with 2 members of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe going down. Once again, Decay coming out into this game, absolutely swinging, practically locking the members of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe out.
That was such a good Drizzler right there. The range is going down the hallway of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe's base and just completely stall them out. Like, we're down to 45 already, and they haven't been able to make a move on zone. Once again, the aim strike's coming out to stop them, 2 members down. And while they did take out the brush, there's not a whole lot of manpower left for them to get that zone back.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just kind of staggered at this moment right now, Maddie. I mean, Decay is snowballing this forward. There's a crab tank fight going on, but Junkie able to follow up and kind of help out with the fight. You can see Storm trying to break through here and maybe get a little more ink down, but it's just not enough. Wow, Decay came out strong on that one.
Yeah, they took those zones. It's like, I'm going to take that, and just did not let go. They did not let 1-2 Buckle My Shoe get anywhere near the mid.
No, absolutely not. They were able to take that Clan Blitz game, and it was tough for them to take it, but then they kind of knew where they needed to be on this one right away. I mean, wow. Decay, congratulations, moving on to the finals.
You know, I think that is a huge victory for them. You know, as you said, they are a returning SOS champion, and now they have a shot at it again. But 1-2 Buckle My Shoe ending their victory streak before it could even get started. But, you know, there's always next week.
There's always next week, absolutely. That's the most beautiful thing about Swim or Sink, is that you get to go almost weekly. It's a weekly, baby. If you didn't do well this week, you bet your bottom dollar you can come back next week. And looking at this finals here, Celestica is going to be returning to us in the finals and facing off against Decay, who just swept 1-2 Buckle My Shoe in the semifinals. 2 very, very strong contenders coming out here for the finals. Who is going to come out on top? And if you look down below at that 3rd place, you have On Crack versus 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. 1-2 Buckle My Shoe being last week's champion.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to see who can make that bronze trophy there. But yeah, On Crack able to bring it to the semifinals, but not quite able to stand up to Celestia. But still, they had a heck of a run, especially considering like all 3 of these other teams have pretty high seeding placements. But On Crack, the surprise runner-up, you know, love to see it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. It's always funny to me when maybe a pickup of some sort. I'm not sure if On Crack is a pickup or an official team, but sometimes when people have like funny team names and they're able to make it this far, it's always it's always silly to see them. And I'm looking at you, Milkbang Mafia. I mean, that's a fantastic name. That's hilarious. That's fantastic. Y'all are funny.
Oh man, yeah, you love to see the creativity comes out for these pickup names. But we will be taking you back to our final match of the night. Celestia versus Decay. Who will come out as your champions? We'll have to wait and see. Both of these teams have been really going at it tonight. You know, as we said before, Celestia with the unstoppable performance in pools, and then Decay taking down 1-2 Buck My Shoe. This is going to be a pretty exciting match.
Absolutely. And you know what else, Maddie? From one backline to another, we have a very, very strong backline fight that could be unfolding in front of us here. I mean, once again, you have Taro returning with that ballpoint splatling that we got to see in the Celestia versus Fortune game, and just coming out so strong with their Inkjet. And then you, on the opposite end on Decay, you have Johan pulling out that C-Jet that they were able to use so effortlessly and flawlessly in those last 2 games, sweeping 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, and once again going into Clamblitz, starting off this final round with Clamblitz, and we're going down to the museum. We're getting our tickets, we're going to look at some art, some exhibits, and we're going to Museum de Alfonsino.
The paint will be flying, and the abstract will be even more abstract, but we are going to a best of 5 final match up. Oh man, this is gonna be exciting. As you said, it's gonna be a backline versus backline comp, and unless they completely decide to change it up, we did see a Flingza coming out in that first what was it, I can't think of the map now, but the first zones match that we saw with Celestia.
And another thing too, Celestia, we're the ones to be running that double crab composition as well, Maddie. So, how is Decay gonna try to combat that? I would definitely assume if they're gonna be bringing that into the finals here, really putting it all on the line, they're definitely going to be keeping that double crab comp with them. And especially on a map like Museum, there's a lot of high ground to be taken. And when crabs get up on the high ground, they can be very difficult to take out.
But Saf, we also may see the return of Logan's Inkzuka, which has proven to be quite effective against the crabs of 1-2 Buckle My Shoe.
True, absolutely true. I mean, I just am baffled at that double, that Inkzuka double that they probably were not planning on. And it just kind of happened in front of them, and I mean, that was absolutely crucial to that Clamblitz Scorch Gorge game. So you're definitely right about that. Bringing out that Trizuka once again to combat those crabs is going to be a really good choice. But I also think that bringing out the Tri-Strikes would be a good choice too, because you need to be throwing them up high, and especially if the crabs opt to take a higher position.
That is a fair point. Museum de Alfonsino has a lot of moving obstacles and a lot of really high obstacles at that. So it's just, even if you're able to get some nice picks with the Zuka, there's a lot of art pieces in the way that can just stop your advance. But on the other hand, as you said, the Ink Strikes can certainly do a little bit better damage at a verticality.
I mean, it'll definitely be a sight to see for sure. And you know what else too? I would really like to know where is the C-Jet going to come into play here? Where do you want to position if you're Johan and you're using your C-Jet, where is the best place for you to be to try to support your team?
Is the question. We will see it pretty propped up on mid once we're getting that push going, but with the crabs in play, they tend to take that high ground on the revolving grate, so I am curious to see as well where they decide to hang up their C-Jet and really get the miss going. But honestly, with the amount of range that they have, they can set up anywhere they like.
Yeah, I think so too, and also the amount of mobility would be really great as well. The amount of mobility that they have would also be very, very good and would work out for them here too. I mean, especially if they're going to try to opt to stay more around the plat area and maybe go a little bit higher up on the spinner that's on the plat area and try to play more defensively. I mean, a charger could be a good choice for that as well. Not saying that that's not a good choice, but I also think that just the Ink Storm is just so good for trying to clear space and to try to deter and to displace different members. And I think it would still a solid choice here too, because especially because of the verticality. There's so many different surfaces to climb on in this one. And so if having rain can just make that so hard.
I have to agree with you there. But yeah, again, I would any other mode, I would say probably either be the way to go, or just any charger, but Clams, you really want that mobility. I think, as you said before, the rain plays so well into getting up onto the enemy plat.
And I mean, just based on the aggression that we saw from Celestia in our earlier matchup with Fortune too, I mean, are they going to just be unrelenting once again, being able to get a lot of clams into the basket? But also seeing Decay in that last matchup too, they were consistently popping and getting clams in. They were consistently trying, like, doing just that. And I mean, honestly, that clams game was also kind of a lower scoring game too. Like, we didn't even go below the 50. I mean, last ditch effort, if you were wearing it, didn't really come into play until the timer said so, not when the clam basket said so. So, but even so, the fight that was put up by 1-2 Buckle My Shoe against them was no small feat by any means. And so if Celestia is going to keep up their aggression that they've been having throughout this run for Swimmer Sync 109, I mean, it could be difficult.
Difficult indeed. I think, yeah, just both Museum and Scorch for clams, I think, like, it really will come down to whoever can make the first move, because both of these teams have shown that they like to really play the aggression. You know, we saw the brush come out in the last clams game, just absolutely go for the basket, but we don't really have the same flank route on this one. There's really only one option for them to be able to go, and it'll be a lot harder to skirt around them with that, but I don't know. It's gonna have to see who's able to really get the foot in the door.
Now, I'm curious, Maddie, if how many museums have you been to in your lifetime? And if you have been to many, which one is your favorite? What kind of exhibits do you like to see?
Dude, that is a tough one. Like, honestly, the only one I can remember the name of is the National Art Museum in DC. I think that has to be at least my top 3. But there's this other, like, history wax museum. I love, like, the diorama history museums where there's, like, scenes from history just brought to life. You know, it's super cool. But I am definitely very partial to art.
Yeah, you know, I think for me, it was probably the Museum of Modern Art. When I went abroad last year, I got to see in Bangkok, Thailand. It was the Museum of Modern Art, and just, oh my gosh, so phenomenal. So, like, I mean, art is so abstract and subjective, right? Like, it's always going to be different no matter where you go, but one of those things, too, when you get to go into different artists' exhibits and they all have, you know, different prompts or reasonings for how they made something or how they created an art piece, is always just so interesting and so cool to read about and learn about.
Yeah, that is incredibly interesting for sure. So
No.
the train bit derailed a bit there, but you said there was the Modern Art Museum. So going off of that, like, abstract art versus more traditional art, you're like, what do you think you prefer?
You know, I think I like more abstract art, especially lately. I feel that that's kind of something that's been really appealing and hitting home for me, and especially surrealism art is my favorite. But you know what? That's not going to matter here. The art talk, we're saving it for later, because boy howdy am I hungry for some clams, baby! And we're going to eat them at the museum.
You know, Splatoon is a bit of an abstract art piece itself, so, you know, I can see their perspective coming from that. But we're going to be seeing double CJ coming in from both sides, both Taro and Johan deciding to bring them out, and once again the double crab for Celestia.
And dude, you always know me. If I'm playing a weapon and I see the same weapon on the other team, it's a fight to the death, right? Like, I need to be the one that comes out on top. There can only be one, not two. And right out the gate, Decay is going to have 2 members going down with 2 power clams in favor of Celestia right now already. I mean, the clam spawn was in Celestia's favor here. Crab take already set up by Violet into the middle section. 3 members of Decay going down, definitely very staggered. Both those power clams making contact with the basket.
Wow, we're barely at mid into this, and they're already down to 40 points. Like, they took those clams and they went for it. You know, we got a nice triple there. The crab just getting some key picks, and they're still throwing clams. We're down to 30 already. They are losing 2 of their members, but that's a heck of a lead for the first minute, let me tell you.
Absolutely, that's a heck of a lead. We're still in like the first 2 minutes of the game, and then we already have a 30 down to the 30 mark. 35-point penalty though, so definitely at least one power clam and some change there to try to take that penalty away. But already you can see 2 members of Celestia now going down. Decay this way coming out, trying to get some more clams into their pockets. Power clam now also making contact for Decay, but you can see Celestia having a Booyah Bomb, trying to throw it out there and clear the space in front of the basket. Awfully purple in front of the basket, and resulting in a single push from Decay.
You know, Decay was pretty quick to respond. They had some nice take of their plat, but just they didn't wait for the clams to really catch up with them, so they didn't have too much to go off of that. Just the one power clam. And that's gonna give Decay a pity clam right there. And though Junkies is just going ham at their base with a nice jump out, there's not really going to be many points gained off of that push.
Yeah, not quite, but Clam Economy, though, Maddie, looking at the top here, is strong on both teams. Decay, though, being the victors at this moment with the economy that they have. 2 specials going online with 1 member down, make it 2 members down. Junkie not getting to use that zip caster anytime soon, unfortunately, but Celestia is going to be pushing in to this basket area right now of Decay, looking to try to clear some space once again, having 2 power clams online, but Taro is going to go ahead, or Johan, excuse me, is going to go ahead and pop that rain to try to push some members back. Violet taking some tick damage and unfortunately going down right there. I mean, Celestia was really looking to try to make a push for themselves there, but unfortunately Decay was quick on the response of it and was able to keep them out.
Yeah, as opposed to the earlier push, you know, they had 1 member go down, but for the most part kept their team alive and were ready for that defense, able to keep Celestia at bay, and now they are back in control of mid, trying to get some picks, but there's going to be a trade between the CJ and the Brush there, and a possible second off of Celestia? Interesting. There's a lot of picks getting held here.
Yeah, you look at that, the Trizuka coming out to now Loken, I believe, holding on to that vanilla splatter shot there with the Trizuka, trying to look for a couple of picks or a splat and not quite finding it. Once again, the rain, though, coming out for the side of Decay to try to get some area taken back into that basket right now, but not quite finding the throw that they want to make here. But you can see Junkie is going to try to see if they can get some tick damage of their own kind of down below here. An excellent shark, but looks like they're kind of waiting to maybe push forward, because 2 members of Decay going down, it can be kind of a dangerous push. And unfortunately there, 2 members of Decay once again going down with an assist coming from Evan with help from their teammates. Now that's 3 members down of Decay. Nobody of Celestia is near the basket quite yet, but looking to see if we can get this power clam moving.
Yeah, that was unfortunate that Decay's push is stalled out like it was. You know, we saw the rain go out and it could have been the start of something, but now Celestia is back. They have no penalty points remaining. 25 points till that knockout, but I think Decay is getting a hold of their plat once again, but we are down to the last 30 seconds, so you know, that's going to give Decay a power clamp, but they really need to get a move on if they want to get those points in the board, because they have a long way to go.
Absolutely. They really got to be watching for these clam spawns, Maddie. They got to be seeing where these clams are going to appear on the map and be kind of ready for them. Wow! Logan getting a really nice pick on Taro there. Some tri-strikes also going into that right side to maybe displace the members of Celestia further. We still do have that power clam in our possession right now. They're going to make contact with the basket here in a little bit. Johan throwing out that rain too, looking for some tick damage, with Logan being able to push forward and trying to cover them a bit. But Johan unfortunately going down, being kind of pincered in by the Booyah Bomb. But 3 members of Celestia going down. 2 members still remaining on the side of Decay, with tri-strikes coming out to try to make some space. Now there are some clams going in at this moment. Overtime is ticking away, though. As soon as that basket closes, it is over. And it looks like Decay is still fighting to keep it open. We are down to the 40 mark, but only Junkie is left alive, jumping in and unfortunately jumping into the wipeout. Oh my gosh, Decay. That was a close one for Celestia.
Sav, I don't think you quite understand. Logan just got a triple with a single Zuka shot in that last, like that triple that went down, that was one shot. That was one shot, just took down a whole line of Celestia in one shot.
My goodness gracious. It's one of those moments I wish we had a replay.
But,
Oh
again,
my gosh.
Logan with again with the clutch play, opening up the basket, just all of that for Decay to be able to get in, like just didn't have quite enough clams to make it work. Like they had all the space in the world, but just fell short. Like they were so close to bringing that back.
Definitely, and it was do or die for Decay at that moment too. As soon as they had 3 down, you could see Junkie was on their way. They were en route when all 3 members went down and causing the wipeout right at the end there. Unfortunate, but man, Logan with the triple try-zuka. It has try in the name for a reason. Celestia is going to need to be watching their backs for that one. I mean, that was a little too close for comfort, I gotta say, Maddie. Celestia, I think, was getting a little bit stressed there. They took it down from 80 all the way down to the 40 mark, and they still had clams to spare to try to get in there. But, I mean, luckily for Celestia, the wipeout did occur.
You know, Celestia, they held control for the majority of that game, and honestly, it was kind of a repeat of what happened in Scorch Clams in the last set with Decay against 1-2 Bucket My Shoe. It's just, Decay was able to bring it back in the last minute or so, but just overall had trouble trying to get into the basket, be able to maintain control in Clams long enough to get a push going. However, just the fact they were able to bring it so close to the end, I would be worried if I were Celestia, especially going into zones Malcolm Art, where we've seen Decay just really dominate.
Yeah, absolutely. Decay has been really strong coming into these zones maps. They have really good footing here, and they know exactly how they want to play it. But I do think that Celestia has really good spatial awareness on this map too, and we got to see it in their tower game earlier on. I mean, they definitely knew where they had to be, and they were able to position themselves really well here. But we are going to actually see it going right here. Game number 2 in this grand finals. Once again, you have the E-leader. Johan is going to be switching out for the E-leader, but Taro once again bringing that ballpoint back into the mix here.
And we see Logan and Chris swapped into the crab splashes here, and Junkie's still on that brush. So is it going back to a more mirrored comp here with just the backline and the machine brush being the differences, but Celestia getting the first cap of the match, and with a nice double to boot, they're going to be able to really push up with this.
There's a lot of splash happening in this matchup right now, Maddie. I'm seeing 4 crabs. We're eating seafood for dinner tonight. We went to Mako Mart to get some shopping done, and we are having seafood. Ladies, gents, and everybody in between. That is a 2 versus 2 situation now. 3 down now on the side of Decay. You have Kira just fighting their way into this back area, taking another member of Decay down once again. We are past the 50-second mark. We are still in the first minute of this game, folks, and Celestia is just ticking away.
Yeah, that flank at the base was huge. Like it not only took down like half the team, but it would just distract the rest of them long enough to get the amount of points that they have. But finally, Decay's able to make some headway and get the zone back to put a nice penalty on Celestia point value. But we'll have to see if they're able to hold it. You know, the Celestia, they haven't quite let go just yet.
Yeah, Celestia is really still trying to put up a fight here, but with Decay being able to break back into this map area, they're making it difficult. Taro, though, getting a really good pick, taking Logan out on that left stack area. The zone now getting flipped back into Celestia's favor. We took out that wave breaker right away, absolutely crucial for clearing the spaces coming out from that leader. Getting that out of there right away is going to be really good, I think, for Celestia right now. But you can see 3 members of Decay trying to look and see if they can make a re-entry here, and especially Johan here on this leader, looking for a pick, trying to keep that front zone area clear. Keeping the members of Celestia at bay, steering clear here. Junkie trying to fly around maybe for a little bit of distraction, but is not quite taken well by Celestia. Instantly taken down kind of mid fly through, and that penalty now for Celestia is gone. We are ticking away at this once again. 15 points left for Celestia to win this game here, and it looks like Decay is trying so hard to break back in. Junkie trying to come in with the flank. It's out of their control, and once again Decay is able to make a quick zone flip, adding that penalty back.
Decay's amount of paint power that they had in possession really came into play there. You know, they had 2 of the members get taken down during that Hail Mary of a push, but they were able to use their splashes just to get the zone back, and it now give them another opportunity. Although it is only 30 points of penalty on Celestia. You know, they are getting close to that knockout once again. Like, they don't have a whole lot of time, and they really got to make something happen.
Yeah, I think Chunky being able to fly around with the Zipcaster here, definitely providing a lot of a distractor value, but it's not quite enough. Celestia is going to be the victor for game number 2.
You know, I think Celestia gave Decay a bit of their own medicine there. They had the early lead, and though they lost it a couple times, Decay was just not able to hold on to it for any length of time. You know, like even with the E-leader pressure that they had, just the double crab and the inkjet from the ballpoint just kept them on their toes the whole match.
Absolutely, and Celestia here, folks, is going to be taking us to a match point going into game 3 on Tower Control, Surge, and Shipyard. But man, I mean, I definitely would be nervous if I was Decay right now, and especially from that Zones game too, Maddie. I mean, no offense to Decay whatsoever. Decay kept adding penalty onto Celestia, but Celestia would just burst through each grouping of penalty that they were given, and they were able to maintain themselves so well. Their presence on that map was just unrelenting, and Decay was having trouble trying to get back in and break that. I mean, yes, they would flip the zone and take it out of possession, but only momentarily, and giving Celestia kind of a run for their money, having them to keep trying to break through penalties to try to win the game. They tried to really stagger it out. They didn't want to give it to them easily. I mean, as with any game, you don't want to try to give your opponent the win, but like, I'd be nervous here as Decay going into this third game, especially with the amount of aggression that Celestia has been bringing. Are they going to be having this double crab? And especially with that ballpoint being able to position themselves and taking the high ground with the inkjet. I mean, it makes me nervous.
Yeah, they certainly have their work cut out for them, but you know, I think Makamart is definitely the place for crabs. You know, being a mart as it is, you'd expect to see any sort of seafood, but I think just the crabs have such an overwhelming presence on those stacks. Like, even when they were running double crabs themselves, just the E-leader was not able to really set up at any given point, just again, how well they're able to stagger out their specials. However, with Tower Control and Sturgeon, crab is still strong, you don't get me wrong, but I think the E-leader's going to have a little bit more breathing room if they decide to keep with it.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're going to find that out right here. Match point on SOS 109, folks. Here we go. We are going to be seeing Johan opting out from that E-leader, switching over to the ZNF Charger. No changes coming out on Celestia. Once again, I've said it once, I'll say it twice, I will say it thrice. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, baby. And here we go, going into this midsection. It looks like we are trying to get in as quickly as possible, but Decay are going to be the first ones to find themselves a pick and finding them in the middle of the map here. Tri-Strikes coming out into that back pit area, trying to displace the members of Celestia. Nobody's gotten on the tower quite yet, but now we can see Johan is feeling pretty comfortable enough to do so. We're going to go on to checkpoint 1.
It seems like Decay is pretty comfortable not running a crab. They've swapped back to the Neo Splash, they swap back to the Vanilla Shot, and with that ZNF Charger, they're going to be running double Ink Strike, and I think just the Splash Wall in general is going to give Logan a little bit more space to be able to push up, but with that triple, it's just going to be Junkie on the brush, coming trying to keep hold of it, and Celeste is going to be moving in, taking over the bridge.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Junkie did exactly what they needed to do there, Maddie. I mean, Celestia was delayed in picking up this tower right now. You can see Violet's trying to maybe lead it here with that crab tank, and then Taro finding themselves on top of it once again, but the Tri-Strikes are going to come out and try to keep them away from it. And the Booyah, but still, the response from Celestia is going to be a Booyah Bomb plus the Inkjet plus a crab. A triple special run here for Celestia to try to keep this tower into this corner area onto the first checkpoint.
We saw that first pick of the Inkjet was the charge, and really the only thing with enough range to contest it when it was in that position, so there's going to be a solid checkpoint take from Celestia there, but they did lose two of their members in the process, make that 3, so they're not going to be able to gain too many points off of that, so Decay has another opportunity to get into the other side. Now we have the Charger on the tower, and now the special is coming out. Logan trying to get another pick with the Zuka, but not quite able to. We'll have to see if they're able to hold out now that they have all their specials used, but that's another 2 down.
Yeah, a 2 versus 2 situation at this moment here, but Decay is going to go ahead and keep this tower in exactly where they want it on this first checkpoint. Taro looking for the pick, able to take it, looking for the jump picks this way, coming out, trying to get some focus back onto this objective right now. But you can see Junkie is now up on this spinner area, maybe looking for some distraction, definitely getting some ink down, taking the attention of Taro and Kira over to that left side with the tower pushing its way back into mid. But you can see Johan is kind of set up on this top area here, maybe making some callouts, trying to look for some picks and trying to move the members of Decay into the right direction. But Logan here now also having the Trizooka once again, looking for a pick, getting the assist, probably taking some tick damage from that Trizooka now, but in allowing Logan to get back up on this tower. But unfortunately, Decay with 3 members down, the tower's going to switch back into Celestia's favor.
You know, Decay has something going there. They did stall out of their push, but they were able to maintain their control of the bridge. But now, when they lost their 3 members there, they kind of fell off. But once again, Junkie's not giving up ground too easily, going in for a nice pick on the ball point and just keeping control of the bridge. You know, Decay, they're keeping the aggression going. They're not giving up this set without a fight, and they're slowly inching their way towards that lead, and it is not a huge lead at any point.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that was huge for Junkie to be popping this Zipcaster right now. Both crabs coming out for the side of Celestia right here to try to prevent this tower from going any further. Tri-Strikes providing some defense. The lead has now changed. The jump out happening there by Johan. Junkie trying to go in and maybe defend Johan so that they are able to jump out, and they are successful in doing so. But once again, the tower moving back into mid, being taken over by Celestia. Celestia's trying to look and see if they can get past this first checkpoint area and make their way to the third checkpoint. Both teams having 1 checkpoint each left to go, with only a few points left for this lead. And especially with Booyah and with the Inkjet here coming out, trying to push that elbow as well. Now pushing Decay into a 2-down situation, 3-down situation.
So 1v2 with Junkie on the brush. Able to, is really trying to get them off that tower, but the crab would not budge, and so that's going to be the lead. Swapping back to Celestia in the last 30 seconds. And I was going to say that the double ink strike, this is really shines if they're able to continually chain them, but when they lost 3 of their members, they are in a bad spot right there. I'm not going to lie, like 20 seconds remaining, and Celestia is so deep in their base. This is not looking good for Decay right now.
And they have such strong control and presence in mid right now as well. You can see Junkie trying to break out into that right side, looking for the flank, but not successful in finding it. Logan taking out the Tri-Strike, maybe also looking for a flank, but also Decay just not having the footing to try to get back in. But Celestia going 3-0, winning Great White Bracket here on Swimmer Sync 109.
And we were talking about Decay being a returning champion, but I think Celestia decided they want some action up on that podium. They're going to be your champions for this week's SOS, getting a win under their belt, and probably a shiny Sendu badge as well. GG's to both teams. It is Celestia once again going 3-0 in their grand final set.
Yeah, Celestia has made quite a run for themselves here this week on SOS. I mean, we could review the stats one more time. They went 3-0 in all of their group stages, friends. So they were already coming out the gate pretty strong here, going into their first couple of rounds of Great White Bracket, and now finding their way into the semifinals, finding their way into the finals, and now once again going 3-0, not dropping a single game in the final here. I mean, congratulations. Quite a good comp there. But with double splash, ballpoint, and machine being ran all together, the synergy was just unmatched. But also, congratulations to Decay for getting 2nd place. I mean, that's not something to scoff at either, and especially because Decay was able to get a win, a really solid win on your last week's champions too. So, I mean, congratulations.
Yeah, they fought hard. You know, they didn't make the cut in the end, but they made Celestia work for it. They kept it in incredibly close games all the way.
For sure. But you know what? That's the beauty of the weekly, ladies, gents, everyone in between, is that it happens weekly. So maybe we'll see them coming back here next week. Maybe we won't, but who knows? Either way, SOS will be continuing next week.
Absolutely, but unfortunately that means we'll be having to sign off for tonight. So before we go, Saf, where can the good people find you?
You can find me at home with post-land depression from LTC, or you can find me at Twitter at Safirea. That's 2 P's, 2 A's, at Safirea on Twitter. And my dear friend Maddie, I'm Mad Gamer. Where can the good people of the IPL stream find you?
Well, you can also find me at home with some post-land depression, but other than that, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at IMadGamerII. I do all the Splatoon content. It's just so much fun, and I'm hoping to get back into it again. But until then, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for watching. As always, it's been
Show
IMad
out,
and
machine.
Seth. Yes, we will see you all later.
Let her rip. What a good one to end on. Good night, folks. Have a great rest of your week and a fabulous weekend. Once again, this has been IMad and Saf here with you on Great White Bracket on Swimmer's Sink. We will see you all later.